All right, welcome. Sorry about the delay. Probably again my end. It's on me. I will lightning rod the blame for being late. But we are here with We Need a Plan. Session 9, I think. Session 9 sounds about right. Nearly double figures, which is a little bit scary. I mean, technically we've played more than 10 sessions, but that's because we kind of did our prep off stream, you know. So yeah, welcome. How are you guys? How is everyone doing? And oh, my camera's out of sync. How is everyone? Oh, it's even worse.
Not too bad.
Good.
Good, thank you.
Good.
I
Surviving.
won't fix this. This is broken. Bear with me. I'm going to fix the green screen manually by pulling it further forward. It's called perspective. Who knew? That I'll have to do. Sorry, I'm just being too picky. But you're all well.
Well, and yourself?
I'm well as always.
You're well as well.
I am well as well. I've been looking forward to this because last session was a lot of last session was a lot of discussion, and this session I imagine might be some action. But it was good discussion. It was getting back into character. It was like putting those shoes that you haven't put on for a while back on, and getting used to them and realizing that they are actually still pretty damn comfy. But I mean, we're just going to dive straight into it. I'm turning Australian. So last session, you guys were in the tavern to begin with, waking up after a night of rest. The first night of rest you'd collectively had in the tavern at all, I think. Possibly the second night. But you'd spent most of your nights in the church, or in a couple of characters' cases elsewhere. In Rain's case, as he was not with the party before. And in Trundle's case, well, I guess you possibly took a dirt nap. I mean, you came out of the dirt, so I don't know. But you weren't weren't with the group. And but you had reconvened. You'd taken on this new companion, Rain, who seems to wield some sort of gun. I was gonna try and put some subterfuge around it, but some kind of gun, which doesn't mean a lot to all of you. And you were essentially telling what to do. The intention was to find Richter, who was taken by one of the vampire spawn that you faced off against. Outside the coffin maker's house, and after doing a bit of research and effectively finding that the front gate, or at least the eastern gate of Vallaki, had been torn open, you did some searching out there with a bit of disagreement amongst the party over what to do, where to do it, what would be the most productive action, and it led to a bit of, I don't know how to describe it. A bit of an argument, a bit of discourse, exactly.
A bit of sabotage.
Exactly. Which was quite interesting. But after sort of debating things out and some characters getting involved, some sort of trying to steer clear of deciding too many things, as you were sort of following a trail, you found a piece of Richter's cloak on the ground. After again making another mile or so away from town, a skeletal rider, a skeleton on the back of a skeletal horse, made its way through the woods, barreling towards you, but you didn't attack it, and for your sake, that's probably a good thing, as it didn't attack you either. It came, the horseman sort of held out what looked to be a note, and you took it, I believe Guzza, and opened it up and read it to everyone, where you received what was an invitation for the new arrivals to come and visit Strahd himself in Castle Ravenloft tomorrow evening. Now, at this point in time, it's about midday, there or thereabouts. It's during the day of the day beforehand. I believe that's roughly where we're at. Possibly a little bit later, sort of early afternoon. But you had received this invitation, and while some people, Arena, of course, making her opinion known, that she and some of the rest of you have no intention of taking him up on the offer. Some of you are actually considering it, and there seems to also be a bit of a possible split over the idea of what might happen there. But as you were waiting out there, you've decided to go back to town to sort of decide what to do here. And that is where we left off, as you guys were just making your way back towards town. So, as the sky again sort of crackles with energy, not actually causing a downpour, but again with that almost weight of the skies above you. You make your way back towards Vallaki, and it takes about an hour for on foot, at a reasonable pace to march your way back to Vallaki at this sort of time in the afternoon. Again, I believe, like I said, you had a few hours of sunlight left at this point in time. It was maybe, I think, early afternoon. I think it was about 2 p.m., 3 p.m. And you make your way back to town and arrive at the same gates that you left at, with the same guards still there. And they, without saying anything, sort of just scan over your party. Having seen you leave relatively recently, the one at the back just says something to the other guards, and they swing the gate open, again slightly sort of scraping along the ground for the one that's been warped and bent, and wordlessly they just stand there and wait for you to enter. So as you step back into Vallaki, unless anyone's not, what would you like to do? I throw it right to you guys at this point in time. I'll move you to the town as well, so you get a visual, and know that you're on the eastern side of town there. So,
it's midday, did you say?
A little bit later. I think
Okay,
especially the journey back, you're looking at about 3:30 kind of time. So you've got another couple of hours of daylight at least, but not too much more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The entire journey back, I would have been hanging probably well back from everyone else, just very, very quiet and looking very, very deep in thought.
Okay.
As we go along.
And again, it seems like most of you are pretty quiet on the journey. There's a lot of thinking to be done. And again, Irina, who has to be known and made aware of, says nothing, but just having most of the time she spent with the party lingered nearish to Zadie. Seems to be keeping her distance a bit from most of you, but not specifically all of you. And you make your way back into the town. So, yeah, what would you like to do?
I think I'll head back to the tavern if we're not doing anything else.
Yep,
So go ahead.
I'm in similar agreement.
Get some food and nothing else.
Okay. So as you all make your way back through the centre of town again, a few people moving about here and there, you spot a couple of familiar guards that not quite jeer, but just look at you with disdain. Again, specifically Rhea, and to a lesser extent Guzza. You guys do, again, stand out collectively due to the fact that everyone else here is human in nature, and a half-orc and a half-orc, a glowing person with no eyes, and, a blue-skinned individual whose hair is kind of drifting around her, stand out just a tad. But you make your way back to the Blue Water Inn, where you settle in to the same sort of table you've sat at for the last few days, and food is being served as you sort of arrive back in, putting yourself down one sec. I need to move you all, and it's really hard to get people. There we go. And there you are. So you arrive back at the tavern, the Blue Water Inn. And again, the wine is being served if you want it. Owen stands behind the bar, sort of cleaning everything, and a few people sit in the tavern. Soldar's nowhere to be seen, unfortunately.
Who was there?
Owen, the barkeep, I assume.
Yeah, Owen's
Other people as well.
correct. Owen's there. There's a few folks around here. Notably, again, the one sort of pointed ear individual who keeps himself to himself, just sitting at a table, reading and sort of jotting things down in what looks like a journal.
I'm gonna go and sit with him.
Okay, yeah, there is just one other seat at his table, and as you sort of approach this individual again in a relatively well trimmed brown coat, with a bit of colourful trim on the inside, wearing a pair of spectacles and some grey hair sort of shot back a bit, a cap perched atop it. He just sort of peers at you over his glasses, and as you pull up the chair, he says nothing, but he sort of closes his journal over and just places his hands sort of like this, just on the table in front of him. What brings you over here?
Fancied some different company. I'm Zadie.
a smile sort of spreads across his face. He just says, "The name is Rictavio." And he sort of just extends a hand politely, gives you a smile, and he again just extends it out to you. Does look slightly oddly at you. You can sense, but it's covered up with a bit of charm.
Rictavio.
Rictavio.
Okay. Okay.
I will shake his hand.
Um,
Damn it, I got one.
and he sort of just he bows his head slightly as you do so, and looks back up at you. And says, "Well, your friends over there you've been staying here for a few days. I've noticed. It's hard not to notice. Might I ask why you've come to make your acquaintance now?"
Oh, we've been real busy the last few days.
He sort of nods and goes, "I've seen you coming and going. Different folk from time to time."
Mm.
Well?
What about you? We just see you here sometimes.
He just
You're
sort of-
obviously also not from here.
he shrugs and smiles slightly and says, "Perhaps not. No, I'm I'm an entertainer. A ringmaster. And I'm well, I'm looking for new actors, shall I say. New actors. Yes."
Huh, I ain't seen a circus around or anything.
Well, it's because I'm looking for new actors, isn't it? No, we're recasting, and again, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right people to come by. And he just sort of smiles slightly, and you don't quite look like the acting type. And he sort of scans across the group of you, sort of behind. Again, he's perched in that corner table, and he just sort of looks across at all of you, and looks back at you, Zadie.
I can't say I've ever tried.
Well, you have the cloth. One of the Morning Lords, I see.
Yeah.
And he just sort of nods and goes, "Well, that's I suppose not as dreary as some other folk around here." And he sort of glances across at one of the other tables. "But tell me, who are you? Who are you? If you're coming here to speak to me."
Like I said, I'm just a bit bored of my current company.
Oh, come now,
Need a
they
fresh
seem
face.
lively enough, but
Oh, they're lively.
well, you're welcome to sit. Can't promise I'll be the best of company. I'm a little bit busy at the moment. He sort of just
Looking
gestures towards the book. It looks like a relatively normal journal, black leather bound, a pen, just also like a ink pen, and a little pot sitting next to it.
You, writing a play?
No, just jotting down memoirs, I suppose. It's always good to have tales at your disposal. Whether or not they're true or not, that's a different story. But well, yes, it's always good to have tales, don't you think?
Can't say I've been writing much recently.
You see him sort of look awkward there slightly.
I used to keep a diary. My daddy told stories too.
That's well, was he an entertainer as well, or and he sort of gestures
He is a preacher,
towards
so
the sun medallion.
of sorts. Yeah.
Well, it entertains and reaffirms and inspires, I suppose. Yes, I mean, in some ways we are a lot alike. Well, so I didn't catch your name.
Zadie.
He sort of nods. He goes, "Pleasure."
Yeah.
The rest
You
of you,
want a
by the way, he sort of nods and goes, "By all means, if you're offering, I can hardly say no."
I'll go buy
Sure.
him a drink.
And he sits there again. You see the age lines in his face. This isn't a young man, and based off of your knowledge of what looks to be a half elf, this guy could be in his. Well, he looks like he's probably in his like over 100 in terms of his age as what looks to be a half elf. You get the sense that his features aren't quite pointed and jaunt enough as the elves are. But you go and grab some wine. In the meantime, the rest of you all see as Zadie gets up, goes over to this table of this individual and sits down and starts conversing with him, like near enough in earshot, but far enough away that in order for you guys to engage, you'd have to sort of crawl across the room a bit. So, what are you guys doing? Anything in particular? What's this
I think as she moved over there, I at least would have probably happily ordered drinks for the party of which I would assume is the 5 of us at the moment.
Yeah.
Sitting at the table.
Yeah,
which would be assume.
You do recall that.
Water.
Well, you can order water if you like.
Yeah, and then however other drinks the others want, which I assume would not be one for one of us.
Yeah,
or maybe
there is that.
Probably.
I will forego the drink.
Noble of you, buddy.
Thanks.
Honourable there. Yeah.
Is it dry January? We're all doing it. We're all doing it.
So you order what I would assume to be a water for yourself. Irina will take a wine, and Rhea as well.
I'm not. If they bring me a drink, fine, but I'm not actually going to touch it. I am very, very deep in thought. Like,
and Rain.
Yeah, I'll be taking the more expensive kind of wine, I think.
Sure, it's like 2 silver, I'll say, total for Irina, who also wants wine, and Rain. So
sure, I'll make the payment.
Sure, yeah, and you sort of just taps the barrels, and you see as as he's tapping them. Again, the stream is pretty light, and you see him kind of leaning on the top end of the barrel a little bit, just to like seemingly put a tiny bit of tilt in it, get a little bit more out of it, and he just places it back on the table, takes your money, and sort of pushes the glass to you. So you order drinks, and again food as well, or
yeah, I mean,
okay.
We had wolf steaks for breakfast. What's the lunch meal?
They don't do too many different types of meals. The wolf steaks are the more
bread
premium.
And butter. Oh, they say bread and wolf steaks here.
Well, no, they do have a service stew that is kind of a beet-based stew. That itself is, I mean, for the collective, if everyone on the table is to eat, maybe 1 silver.
Not everyone. Sorry.
Everyone who can eat at the table. For ease of purpose, the lowest denominator I'm willing to use really is like a silver, because bronze is just like a copper. It's so minute.
It gets messy.
Is it though? Some can say you can save a lot on a copper, but that's
true.
Well, it costs you a silver, so
I'll pay as well. Sure.
And you sort of serve up the stew to everyone. It's not overly interesting. It's got bits of barley, mainly beet based, so it's quite reddish, and as you all eat it, you do notice sort of your lips and your teeth start to get just a little bit stained from eating them. But Zadie, as you sit there again. Oh, is anyone else? Sorry, anyone else? Anything? Nope. Sorry. Yeah, I thought one of you to say something. So yeah.
I'd speaking to them if she's speaking to him.
Mm-hmm.
But you're welcome to turn the camera back on Zadie.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've got something to go over, by all means. No?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get into character, buddy. Some of us need a moment.
Process.
Yeah.
Get this creative energy flowing.
I am
Red,
the
Laurie,
half
yellow,
orc.
You're always a half orc.
You're not.
Moses for Moses. Right. I assume actually because of the way that we are angled as well, I assume my back will be to Zadie as well, just to help.
Yeah, for sure.
Drinks come down. Soup served. Sorry, I'm gruel. And be like, that one sure is awful stern about certain things. I try to talk sense. I tried to talk faith, and I'm struggling.
To be fair, if you want to talk sense and faith, it's probably not a good idea to parade the dead faces of her friends in her.
you always thinking of the right after. I could do with some right before next time.
I didn't know what you were going to do. Didn't know you were really that capable of doing something quite that shitty, to be honest.
So the music stopped at that right moment. I was like, wow, that's some
I
production.
realised that I put one of the tracks was supposed to loop, so I was supposed to like shuffle on loop, so it was just playing the same one track again and again. I was like, can't be having that. Carry on. Sorry for the disturbance.
I mean, it's not that I disagree with what you were saying. The way you tried to say it, though. Really? You think that mends things? You think that has been a productive way to go about it?
Tune on, Miss G.
I must admit, it was an interesting display of cruelty. I could admire that in a place like this. To a degree. Let's not be coy, what you did was horrendous, but... well... it's Barovia. Brings out the worst in you.
Hmm.
Thank you for the drink. I take a hearty sip.
I suppose you awful sad about it too, and I just eyes on Silent Lord across the table.
The mouthless wonder.
I presume that you're eyeing at me there. I'll be just sort of like tapping my fingers on the table silently, not really making very much eye contact with anyone.
Yeah.
Just not reply, just
Yeah, you hear this in your head. You do hear the kind of like the in your head slightly again, with no effect, because it's interesting. You still have a nose, you still have lungs, and what you assume is some kind of stomach, but it's not being put to use, at least not to your knowledge. And where your mouth is, obviously there's nothing. So, in terms of how you're able to make vocal sounds, I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's more likely that your capability to make sound is kind of very much subdued, but mentally you are sort of humming and hawing, and you can all hear this to an extent, like, you know, it's sort of dips in and out.
Feeling like this sense of like, hey, you did a shitty thing, and I'm like, oh shit, I did a shitty thing. I think Guz has lost his appetite, and be like, just pushing the meal away. I'm gonna be like, I think I need to reflect on this. I'll be at the church if y'all need me. And I get up and start to walk towards the doors.
Mm-hmm. And again, you will see as Guzza gets up, and again, Zadie, if you are interested, you can overhear this. You're all of 5-10 feet away, and you hear Guzza sort of say that he's going to head to the church if anyone needs him. And you make your way outside and on towards the church. You see Guzza just sort of steps outside.
To Rhea only, I will say, we still have time left in the day. Maybe it's best we don't let him stray too far from the group.
He's only going to the church, and he'll be safe there. Oh, you don't know? You don't know, do you?
What don't I know?
Oh, you remember the bones that we took back to the church? Well, I mean, you don't remember, but the whole reason that we were there at the coffee makers, yes.
Yes, I remember that much. And I understand that you brought the bones back after I fell.
Yes, and it was a blessing on the church. I can't remember how it was explained, except that it keeps the bad things out. He is safe there, especially after dark, I think. So that's at least you can rest easy. And I think he probably needs some alone time, but
It had better be safe after what we gave up for it.
I know. I think maybe that's what's hurting Zadie too.
And so what now with the rest of the day? We can't sit idly for too long.
No, I'm trying to think. It's trying to think about the best way to go forward. I know there are
Zadie.
things we need to do here.
Zadie expressed some strong thoughts about perhaps finding these crow people that you mentioned. I know nothing of this, but
No, I knew nothing of this either. But yes, I would. It would certainly seem like a good place to start.
well, I won't be the one leading that. I recall nothing of those events. Perhaps when she's done talking to our new friend.
Yes.
So, appropriate time to cut back to
Yeah.
the
Oh,
conversation.
I was gonna say just before you do,
go
I
by me.
finish up. I leave a couple of silver on the table and just say, should you want any more drinks, I must take my leave for a moment, and I am going to step outside and go to the church where Gaza has headed. I assume.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's only been a couple of minutes, and again, you both sort of not heading off together, but are on your way to the church at this point in time. So Zadie, as you're sitting there chatting to Rictavio, he's sort of again just sort of able to hear occasional snippets of this conversation, but again, it is an odd conversation to almost listen into, because for you and Rictavio in this situation, you can't hear any of Trundle's side of the conversation. So you gauge roughly what's going on as you're able to sort of catch the edge of it. There's a sort of curiosity sort of peaked in Rictavio's sort of eyes behind his sort of slightly clouded glasses as he looks at you and just says, "It seems like your friends are splitting up. So it would seem. Drink?" And he sort of looks at you, and smiles.
I don't, but feel free.
He sort of goes, one moment. And you see him sort of head over towards the bar.
I bought him one.
Hmm?
I bought him one.
Oh yeah, of course. Apologies. He's drunk it really
He
fast.
might be
Okay.
an alcoholic.
This
yeah.
is the timelines. Okay, yeah. In that case, yeah, he sort of he sups on his drink, and looks across to you and says, "So what brings you here anyway?"
What, to the tavern or the
Well,
town or?
You're not from around here. At least your friends aren't. And excuse my apologies. It's just a rather this, and he sort of gestures to his face. So it's rather disconcerting, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh yeah, I think that was the point.
You although you can only kind of get the outline of his pointed face, you see the kind of eyebrow raise. Just
We came here looking to do a favor for a town, and then we got stuck, and then we just been wandering. Really, we came here because one of our friends needed to get to the church. Now we don't know why.
he sort of waits. Just
That's about it, really.
well, I mean, just that way. I mean, but
Yeah, we got that.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, you found what you're looking for?
Not really.
Well, keep looking, I suppose. And he sort of, he seems to be like just settling back into his chair. He says, "Well, now, I don't understand exactly why I've come over here per se, but I mean, are you interested in a tale? That's what I'm rather good at, I suppose."
Yeah, that sounds great.
And he sort of just nods.
Before though, You said you were a ringmaster?
Well, yes, of sorts. I mean, our carnival's a bit dry as of late, but like I said, looking for
But
new
you,
blood,
like-
new actors,
So
new
you've like
folks.
traveled around.
Well, I have. I've settled in town for. It's been close to a month or so now. But yes, travelled around.
So you must have seen very weird stuff being a
Well, this place is a
Being a
bit.
traveller.
Does give you kind of the heebie-jeebies, but yes, I mean, nothing too out of the ordinary besides the the rather happy folks of this town. He sort of chuckles slightly, and just looks at you with that kind of look of like, do
Yeah.
you get it? Like,
Yeah, they're well.
and he sort of just nods. He goes, well, yes, I think that. I mean, they're nice enough people from, on the most part. He looks across around the room and you see there's a few locals who are sort of pouring in and out, but there's not many people sitting around and they're not too talkative.
So, you ever heard of a crow turning into a person?
He sort of just goes, well, it's something that would fall in under one of the many tales I can tell, but I can't say that I have.
Can I roll an insight?
You can indeed. You can indeed. It's pretty,
Yeah, she's-
that's pretty high.
Yeah.
That's pretty high. You get the sense that he's like kind of holding something back potentially. There's like when you say it, there's like almost like just like a slight blink, that betrays perhaps more that there was a reaction when you mentioned people turning into crows. Beyond that, it's he's still quite hard to read, but you get the sense that I mean, he's not lying. You don't think, but he's definitely holding something back.
Okay, so why don't you tell me a tale about him?
And you seem to swallow almost a little bit awkwardly. I haven't got a tale about them prepared specifically. I was more looking to tell a tale of the City of Glass, how it came to be. But I suppose, and you sort of fumble around for a bit. I suppose I could. What kind of tale would you like? I mean, I've got tales of other people who can turn to other things, but you're really insistent on this one. He sort of looks at you.
I mean, I heard that they're a thing, and I ain't never heard of them back from where I'm from.
He sort of cedes that. It's fair enough, I suppose. And you see him look around, and there's not many other people in the tavern besides your friends. Just, how about your friends? Do you want to get them involved as well? Surely a tale should be spun to as many people as are willing to listen. And I mean, you guys can hear this being said as he sort of projects his voice out a little bit.
I'll look to Brea, shall we?
If Sadie doesn't mind us joining her.
I'll look over to Zadie.
Sure.
Stand up, pull up a couple of chairs.
Yeah, well, I mean, as this is a small corner table, he gets up and makes his way towards your table. As this is settled, he goes, and you see him take like a slight bow. When he gets up from his chair, he has a cane, and you see him sort of walk. It's not quite a limp per se, but it's like it's partly a limp. You know, he walks with a slight stiffness to one of his legs and walks with this cane at his side. Again, he looks, he stands upright and he looks healthy, but he just walks slightly slowly because of it. And he pulls up a chair at the edge of the table, which again there's enough chairs, but he pulls up and tucks himself in, and introduces himself to all of you as Rictavio. And again, those of you that are there, which in this case just happens to be Trundle and Rare, he looks at you, Trundle, with your bandana style.
Yeah,
and,
my little-
he sort of just
My little
looks,
thing.
looks curiously. But
I mean, if I'm prompted to introduce myself, I'd probably just look over for someone else to introduce my name.
sure.
Just sort of.
Mhm.
Shit.
I mean, he doesn't look too deeply into it. He just extends his hand out and shakes all your hands. Irina quietly says her name. You know, Rhea looks at you again quizzically, but with a smile, and goes around the rest of the table, which in this case is just Trundle. Says, "Well, you want a tale of what was it again exactly?" And he looks at you, Zadie. People who turn into crows, or crows that turn into people. Was it? Well, and he launches into a whole tale. I'm not gonna like ad lib on the spot, but he launches into a whole tale of fuck you. I'm not gonna stumble my way through that.
Shame.
I'm human. You can eat shit. But
Fair enough.
yeah,
In a time long gone, there were crows.
yeah, exactly. There was. I mean, the tale is
And they
impressive.
turned into people, and they turned back into crows.
The
end.
end. Yeah. No, he tells a tale of a young crow person that could turn into a person in a crow, but talked about how they learned how to do it, and it tells a tale of a great ancient crow that kind of sent them on a long quest to go and find the feathers of crows past, and this whole tale spins long and long and out of control. But it goes on for a good 10-15 minutes with him practically not even breaking sentence, breaking timbre. I can't pronounce it correctly. Timbre. And he continues just regaling this tale that does actually suck you all in a little bit. And as he finishes, he takes a little bow, says, "Alas, this is why I need more actors. I am getting on a bit, and well, the more it's not fun if you're not sharing with other people." And you see that some of the other people in the tavern that sitting around are looking over at least as he regales this tale, with idle curiosity before going back to their drinks. And he finishes, sits himself down, and says, "Oh, I quite need another drink, if you don't mind." And he goes up and asks, effectively orders for the table, if any of you want any other drinks, and sets them down before coming back. "So, lady's told me a little bit about why you're here, I suppose. But just curious. You're all a little bit different, and your friends who have headed off, I mean, they are rather different too." So, he sort of looks across at you. "Care to share?"
Cool.
Hard to say at the moment. We're all a bit lost, I think.
Trundle will shake his head and just be mute.
Okay. I'll say if this is why you're hesitating, being able to speak into people's minds can portray the fact that it sounds like you're speaking. There's no he's not gonna be like, "Who's saying that? Oh my god!" In case that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, fair enough. That was a little bit what I'm worried about. But
Yeah,
so
no, I thought it's
still
fair.
mute.
Totally fair as well. But just so you can make it so seem like it's coming from you at least. Well, you're rather maybe fallen on some hard times, perhaps. When I get my actors together, you should come to the show. It'll be somewhere in town. I'm trying to make use of that, maybe that stockyard to the east. It's wide open spaces, turned into a bit of a theatre, don't you think? People could use a bit of joy.
You're involved in entertainment?
Yes, quite. Well, I used to be. It's been a little while since I've had a slew of actors, but I'll find them. I have faith.
You don't have actors?
He says, "Well, besides myself, of course. I'm not particularly musically gifted, but an orator... Well, oratory is kind of my specialty."
Do you have anything else?
He just eyes you curiously. "Not quite sure what you mean.
You have a monkey?
He looks at you curiously. He goes, "No, it's rather odd. I do know a gentleman who has one."
Oh, is he in Valaki right now? Or
You see him sort of look curiously. He goes, "Why? It's an oddly specific request."
I am very fond of monkeys. I just find them incredibly entertaining.
He smirks slightly. He goes, "Well, actually, just go ahead and make a fucking deception check. Why not? Because you're
Yeah.
just like,
Why
full on,
not?
full on. I find monkeys entertaining, guys.
They are entertaining creatures. Hang on.
It's a matter of
I
opinion.
have to do Roll20 on my laptop and it's not the best. But here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he eyes you slightly and just goes, Well, he's a man in town, just a friend of mine, rather portly chap. He runs the toy shop in town. His name's Gadolf Blinksy. I don't know if you've seen slogan or the shop. It wouldn't be surprised if you haven't. It doesn't get too much business, but he's a warm-spirited individual in this joyful town. But yes, he has I think it's a pet monkey. Yes, keeps it with him most of the time.
Right. Where did you say we could find this gentleman?
He sort of gives you directions effectively to where this guy's shop is. It's from memory, it's over to the sort of north side of town. There's the three-way fork. It's actually pretty near to the Blue Water Inn, because Blue Water Inn is central and up the northern fork on the right-hand side. Maybe 5 or 6 buildings up. He sort of directs you towards that, as and when you want to go there. He says, yes, he's rather enthusiastic chap. He's very friendly, but I mean, he doesn't get many visitors though, so I'd maybe be a bit. I'll just be friendly, and I'm sure he'll enjoy the company. But I don't think the monkey's for sale, if that's what you're asking after.
Oh no. I just think they're fun.
He sort of nods. Fair enough. To each their own, I suppose. Right, I must be getting off. And he sort of gets up. He says, "I've got a few things to prep, but I'll." And he heads to the bar near you as he's sort of continuing this conversation. But I'll see you guys around, I suppose. He sort of says, "I'm staying here, so if you want to talk, I should be around most of the day when I'm not out and about." Pleasure meeting you all. Nods to you all. And again, he sort of orders something from Owen, and Owen sort of returns with a wolf steak and like 3 apples as well. He quickly sort of pockets them and goes, "Well, I'll be heading off." And he heads towards the front door and makes his way out.
I didn't know that Barovia was the theatrical place.
Well, they do have a lot of festivals here, apparently.
That's
And
true.
And they have one coming up now, don't they?
In about 3 days' time, 4 days' time.
Interesting. That man with a monkey.
So, we'll cut to the other two.
Yeah.
As you're sort of split at this point. Guzza, you arrive at the church. It's much as you left it. Again, Father Lucian's there, and he greets you with a sort of a, as it seems to be the way now. Every time you're gone for more than a little bit of time, there's sort of like an anxious smile, of wondering almost if you're going to be bearing bad news. As he looks at you and sort of goes, "Welcome back, Guzza. I trust you're well."
I am, friend, and you fear not about my comrades. They reside in the inn just down there.
It's reassuring for sure. Come, you must see the happiness and joy that you've really joy that you've spread because of your actions that you took here. And he sort of brings you to one of the front pews where it's like a youngish family, a husband and wife that look to be in their sort of late 20s with a couple of children sort of sitting around. One of the kids is notably older than the other and is kind of bossing them around a little bit. But he says, these folk wouldn't be here, perhaps, if it was not for you. They feel safe here. They feel comfortable. They feel protected. They are protected by yourself and by this countenance, this power. We have you to thank for that. I just wish you could understand the far-reaching implications of your actions in a positive way. But have you come here for any... Sorry. And he sort of looks at you and sort of just goes, so have you come here for any specific reason? I mean, you're welcome any time, of course. But anything I can do to help, I will.
I think it is now that I need a moment with my own god. As you can see, it is not the morning light that's crest I don.
Oh, of course, but his light looks kindly upon you. And he sort of takes his leave and again goes back to actually sort of tidying up some of the church.
Oh, Father, before you go, I do not mean to overstay this warm gratitude that you have given us, but instead I should only ask that if perhaps I can borrow a parchment ink and a quill, perhaps. Is that something that I could perhaps pay for, if nothing else?
He says you do not need to pay, of course. It is, he gestures to one of the rooms, the room that he's sort of shown you in before, where you have actually seen a writing desk set up, and he says, take whatever supplies you need, and just don't worry about returning them. We have enough. And he just, again, it indicates which room it is from a distance, and may you be well.
Thank you, friend. I shall pray first, but I'll enter that room shortly.
He sort of nods and goes about sort of tidying the church up a bit. It's around this time, maybe a minute or two after you start your whatever it is, like your rituals are. Again, Rain, you catch up, sort of make your way up into the church, where you have not been before.
No, he came and helped us take the big sun down.
You have, of course, you have. Excuse me.
The Crowbar Kid, as we know.
Yes. So the father sort of sees you. Again, he's busy tidying stuff up, and from a distance, just sort of gives you the kind of like the distant wave, not head nod greeting, but continues about his business. Where you see Gaza again, whatever it is that you're doing, Gaza, exactly. Like, how are you? What are you doing at the moment in terms of praying, ritual?
I think a classic head bow on a pew sort of thing. We're not going to vary from the classical.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you see Gaza sort of sitting there again, rather large in the when compared to the people in the pews ahead. So he sits there, hands clasped together, head bowed.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over and lay my hand slowly on his shoulder and say, "Mind if I take a seat?"
It is best not to disturb one when they are praying, sir. It is moments like that when we find ourselves closest to God. For a moment there, I thought our hand touched. Just laugh at the stupidity of that.
Well, sorry to disappoint. There is no God here. Just me.
The church just ejects you magically.
A furrowed brow crosses Gaza's face, and he's like,
red button ejector seat.
Yeah. Perhaps you are not the wordsmith that I supposed you for, sir. I'm sure the implication of those words are not what you meant, but it is good to see you, friend. How may I help you?
Like I said, may I take a seat? Perhaps it's best we discuss some interesting developments in a more quiet manner. It looks rather awful me just standing here.
You may seat, but I would ask that you keep your or our conversation about any sort of matters to a minimum. Whatever god you believe that does or does not reside here, I believe that they are watching, and they will not appreciate our words if they are not to the Lord. Please go ahead.
Do you still find interest in heading to Kresik?
The words in that letter, the invite. I found no welcoming in that.
Thankfully, you're the only one who seems to have their head screwed on when it comes to this. Those words ring hollow, and me, coming from this place, knows full well that this is the type of thing that precisely leads new adventurers to their death, or perhaps worse. There's fates far worse than death in these lands.
You have seen other adventurers being led to such horrors?
Well, I'm not from here, but my family has been. They ended up here through one way or another, a wrong turn in a shrouded forest once or twice. Before you know it, they can't leave. Mists cloud their judgment and their vision. They're forced to stay here, and then that was that. I was born in this very land.
All that horror, and you still not move towards at least a lord?
I have some faith. Please. It was all in good jest, I assure you. I find in these trying times one could use a little bit of dark humor.
Perhaps you are right, friend. I have thoughts myself that cloud my judgment. Please,
Yes.
Kresik, you resided there at one point, correct?
Yes, I did. As far as I'm aware, my homestead should still be intact. It hasn't been too long since I left, but I'll be curious to see what they've done with it. People don't typically leave that place.
I understand. Do you think we should head there, perhaps in the morning?
I'd like to think so.
Have you brought the other? You said that the others do not have their head screwed on. Forgive me. Is this something you brought with them as well?
No,
And they have
but
declined.
well, entertaining the notion that we should even venture towards Strahd, I find completely foolish. Invitation or not, I can assure you that that is a one-way ticket to a rather dark and humorless fate. I just sort of smile almost and sort of I find it amusing.
Sure. Just looking around and enjoying the warmth and protection that this place offers us. I'll be like, I do believe that he can meet us if he chooses. So I think you're right. Let us not put ourselves on a plate, so to speak. Do you think sorry, forgive me. Kresik, it's what? How far away? Hours? Days? I'm afraid I do not know the city
A few
well.
hours, I should think. It's
So-
not too far. Best done in the morning, I would say. The Chapel of St. Markovi is there. The shrine. There's plenty there for a man of your faith. Perhaps you can ask for some form of forgiveness there if you wished. If that's what you're searching, I don't mean to imply, just judging by everyone else's reaction to your interest in developments, which I do wish to know about. They don't seem to have taken kindly to that, and forgive me, I am not aware of the context.
I think something like that is a story best told on the road.
Perhaps.
So perhaps we look at something like that tomorrow. But if it is Kresik that you also wish to go to, then I'll welcome your companionship, friend, on the road.
Oh,
As you are right.
please. The honor's all mine. It's hard finding people even moderately trustworthy in this place. I should warn you though, the chapel, it's had some interesting encounters in time. Perhaps if we can make a change and sort some of those issues out.
Issues, encounters. How do you mean? A roof needs fixing?
Something akin to that, but an individual does reside there. Interesting fellow, shady almost. He comes down to the town, well he did, every so often. Came to the shrine to pray. People have always been wary or cautious of this man, but I feel a man of much closer to the faith than me would probably have a much better idea of what could possibly be going on.
Is he the groundskeeper of this church? A clergyman?
No, I believe he is one of the clergy. At least he presents that way.
And forgive me, is it the church of what? Forgive me, my
Saint
mind is...
Markovia, the Morning Lord, as he is referred to here. You must be aware.
Yeah.
We are.
You have faint knowledge, Rain, of that Saint Markovia is a saint of the morning Lord.
Yeah.
Yes. It seems that she was an individual. Again, your knowledge of it is not amazing. It's just the name of an abbey. It's like, St. Paul's Cathedral. I don't know who St. Paul is, but I know what St. Paul's Cathedral is.
The chapel of St. Markovia, it follows the Morning Lord.
Yeah, the Abbey of St. Markovia. Yeah.
Sorry, the Abbey of St.
And the
Markovia.
individual that you know is called the Abbot.
The Abbot.
Is simply what he's referred to as.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And if you recall, I'm not sure if I can't remember exactly quite what was mentioned and discussed, but a distinctive feature is that he seems relatively young. He seems to be. I mean, we're talking in his 20s to 30s perhaps, but interestingly, he has been there for as long as you can remember. It's distinct to you, but that's about it. That's about it. It's again, you see these people in front of you, and the people you've seen in the group, you're aware of what half elves can be. You're aware, again, despite this sort of some knowledge gap from where you are, from where you're from, you're aware of other races and other humanoid races, but he seems human. So you're just wary that he doesn't seem to have aged much. But yeah,
Okay.
so I thought I'd just.
Is this knowledge relayed to me, or did you just say?
I will relay this knowledge to you. I don't think I wrote that down, even though I knew I probably.
I may not have mentioned it, but it is something.
I distinctly remember you saying that, but I don't have that information down. I have it all about the Abbey, but not him.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, but cool. So.
I relay this back to you. The Abbot's an interesting fellow. He's incredibly young. He's been there as far as I've been around. I've been around several years. He seems young. Disturbingly young. A human, to boot. Not like one of just sort of gesture to my kind anyway.
I'm afraid I'm not well versed in the aging process of man. Something like this is certainly peculiar and definitely worth investigating more.
Perhaps we can come to an agreement with your friends over this. I know that perhaps right now you butt heads with them, but I'm sure when it comes to a matter of protecting an abbey and religion, you can perhaps come to some sort of arrangement.
Perhaps, but it would seem that my methods aren't quite as well received or as well thought out. If you'll allow me.
So before we continue, can you change into anyone?
If I must be frank, in all the commotion I couldn't quite count. In all the commotion I did not even register that you yourself was there. So I apologize if my shocking demeanor was something that frightened or upset you?
Neither frightened nor upset, more curious than anything else. I mean, it's just fascinating.
That is a word for it. But yes. With enough time and enough study, I can resemble most who I have made contact with. It is not something I should do so freely.
Perhaps not. But alas, I'll leave you to your peace. I hope you find what you're looking for. I stand up and sit in the pew, like a couple of pews behind him.
And you continue your prayer.
I do I mean, you'll let me time this as long as I can. Let's say another 10, 20 minutes.
Sure.
I just sit there waiting.
Yeah, until I find, enough strength peace essentially, and stand up and then assume although my head's been down, I can assume that I can see him as I'm standing up and walking away, and sort of knowing where the writing bureau is and the associates. I turn back to him and be like, I'll be a moment. There's something I must do first. Your patience is what I ask for, just a little longer. I appreciate that silence, sir. And I walk to the bureau.
Yeah, just some nods. Cool. So you make your way out of there, or at least to get the papers and whatnot. And we'll come back to the others as you and Rain you're going with as well.
Yeah, I'll seeing he leaves, I'll just ask, do you mind if I accompany you?
No, sir. If you recall the 2 minutes I just spoke to you, I said, "I'll be just a moment. If you're happy to wait here, it's your patience I'd appreciate." But
right.
you're welcome. You're welcome to come.
I will, if that's the case, I will simply stay here then.
Thank you, friend. Although my spelling isn't quite what it was, I think it's best that I write these words alone.
And yeah, I mean, the father's happy for you to spend some time in the room if you just want to write something down. And we'll come back to the others as they. What are you guys doing at this point in time?
Does the awkward silence persist?
That's the question, isn't it?
I think there was an awkwardness.
As you all sit there, and Arena's just sort of sitting there as well, not saying anything, just watching, staring between some of you.
Okay. I'll finally just sort of sigh and say, "No, I'm not very good at this." Zadie? I'm sorry for everything today. I know that you are having a terrible time, and I know that a lot of my behavior is not helping anything. I hate that I'm letting you down, but
You ain't letting me down. I just wish you would have said something if you didn't want to go rather than pretend.
I did. I'm sorry. I said that I didn't think it was worth going, but I was honest about that.
Came. I told you didn't have to. I told
Of
you
course
I
I
would have gone
have
on my
to.
own. I told you I only wanted a day. I told you I didn't think we'd find him.
I know,
I don't know
but
why it became something that you had to lie about, and
I didn't lie about it. I told you what I felt about it, but it meant something to you, so I came anyway.
when you got that thing off Guzzo, you said it didn't matter. If you're actually interested in searching, that's exactly the kind of thing that would matter.
I didn't. Perhaps I said it wrong. I mean that it didn't change anything.
I know. I don't know why. I know. I knew we were looking for something that probably weren't there. I knew that we were looking for something that probably weren't good. I said that. I didn't think we were gonna find him, like, injured but okay. I just wanted to make sure if his corpse had been left by a couple of vampires by a tree 10 meters down the road, we didn't just leave it there. Now
Okay.
we probably have, if that is what happened.
I don't know. Something tells me that. Something tells me that he would have other plans for that sort of thing.
Well, I don't think he would have chosen to come back, and
No, I mean Strahd would have had other plans
we
for.
don't know how connected that is. Like, we've
Oh,
seen corpses around.
Yes, but not ones that mean as much to you and to us as Richter's.
I agree it was unlikely, but that's why I asked for a single day to go look.
I know, and you're right. I should have been more sensitive about how much it meant to you. I'm not good at being sensitive about things. I'm not good at being a friend. I'm sorry. I I promise you, I will try to be better in the future. I can't promise that I will always get it right, but I will be honest with you, and even if I do think that something you do is, if I think it's a mistake, or if I just don't agree with it, if it still means that much to you, then I will still be there with you.
You don't have to be. That's what I'm saying. If you don't want to do something, don't do it.
No, you don't get it. I do. I wouldn't be here at all if it wasn't for you. If you don't understand that, then you don't really understand what you did for me by getting me out of prison and stopping me from being executed.
Of course I do, but look at where we are. Anything we try to do could lead with any of us dying. I mean, we investigated a graveyard because it looked kind of interesting. There was a dude there, and I died. This isn't a normal set of risks that we're taking.
I know. And we went to take a set of bones off an old man, and we got attacked by 100 vampires or something.
Exactly.
Maybe 101.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take
A
just
lot.
100 to take me down.
I wasn't
it's
really
definitely
counting
more.
at the time. But I know.
It
just
ain't
this
normal
place.
risks. Just I know going just out in the woods for a day is a risk. We did it for the wolves, and again, someone died. But if we're gonna do it for fun, hunting some wolves, we should do it for our friends who might be dead there.
I agree. We should have a
If
reason
you
for
disagree, then you don't do it because it is.
No, because that's what I owe to you, and that's the kind of friend I have to be. I'm sorry. You don't get a say in this. I'm sorry. I'm standing with you, whatever you do. You're stuck with me. You let the genie out of the bottle, if you'll excuse the expression.
Right. Well, I think we have to go see a man about a monkey.
I love that you said that. That's yes, and but
I mean, if he's in town. I mean,
yes, sure. I do want to because I'm quite excited about this possibility because it actually plays into something that I wanted to say. Because I need to ask you, and I need to ask Strandalis too. This invitation to Strahd. How serious are you about going?
oh God, I don't wanna. I think I wanna.
No, of course
See
nobody
you
wants to go, but I know it's
On the one hand, it's the only thing we got that's not sense, and on the other hand, ignoring him don't seem smart.
no, but going there seems almost suicidal to me. And
I
and
agree, but I feel like ignoring him is also suicidal. You know, like there's no winning in that situation.
no, but I think we got a better chance of doing something else productive if we're out here rather than in there with him. But I will say again, just like with everything else, if you say it's the best thing to do, then I will still be standing with you, and I will go, even no matter what I think, I will stand beside you. But I have a thought, I suppose a kind of compromise, and maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll satisfy everybody. But I think I should tell all of you together, and then we decide as a group. I know that you probably don't even want to be in the same room as Gaza right now, and I don't blame you at all. But we need to do this together. I think that's important. And if we decide to go our separate ways after, then that's what we do. Okay. And I promise you, I will say something if he tries anything like that again.
All right. So now we're all done hugging. Let's get down to it. And Trundle will stand up.
I didn't get around to the hugging. Was I supposed to hug?
Yeah, Arena
I
stands
think
up
it's
as you
fine.
say that as well. You should take action.
Do we need to find the other? We need to get the churchgoers, or did they make their way back? I can't
You don't
remember.
know.
If Gaza was
in character. You don't know. They haven't arrived back, haven't they?
Well,
okay. Yeah. Oh,
No.
yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah. So should we go and find them at the church? I'd actually rather say this at the church if I could.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sadie?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay. If you're sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah. So you make your way collectively. The four of you make your way to the church. Again, it's a 5 to 10 minute trip at best. And as you arrive, I'll say it's when Rain, are you waiting outside by one of the pews as you wait for Gaza to write his letter, or write whatever it is he's writing? I don't know.
I'll just be waiting on the pews.
Sure. So you're waiting on the pews, and again, you guys all arrive at the church, and you see the father. You see a smattering of maybe 7 or 8 people in the church. One of whom is Rain, and he's sort of sitting there out on the further back pews, just sort of idly sort of looking around. And he catches your gaze, or you catch his, and he sort of stands up and turns to you. Gaza, in the meantime, as you're in there on your own, you have peace, you have quiet, you have writing implements. Are these being utilised now? I assume so.
Yep.
What are you doing?
I'm writing a letter.
Are you keeping it?
I am.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to dictate it to everyone right now.
Sure. But you write a letter.
So I write a letter. It takes some time because spelling's hard. Am I right, everyone?
Yeah.
And at the end, I fold it up into thirds, and then just to the front of it, write Zadie.
Sure. I mean, only a savage would fold a letter any other fucking way, right? Come on, it's natural.
You are a monster.
You fold into quarters. Fuck you. So yeah, you fold into thirds. Write Zadie on the front with the Z backwards.
Or thirds, like portrait way. I mean, that'd be
fucking
awful.
God. No. So you write a letter. You name it, and tuck it away, and. I'd say for ease of purpose, around the time you guys arrive and reunite with Rain, who's sort of there, just waiting. Gaza, you make your way out with the sort of stepping out of the room, and you all sort of catch each other's gaze. You're nearest to the door, Gaza, and the others are just a little bit 10, 15 feet away.
It's tucked in. I mean, the last time something was tucked in, maybe it was quite easy to find, but I'm hoping this one's slightly well.
Yeah,
slightly
that,
well.
that was
Maybe
more
don't
like
strip.
you need to put it away whilst you're de-armoring. If you hadn't de-armored, you could have just kept that fist clenched, but you chose, and dice didn't get anyway. So yeah, you put this away in a bag. You know, it's not poking out anywhere. There's no indication as to what you've done in there. You know. Yeah, no fucking fuck you. I'm not sure. Context. Okay. So you step out and the others are there. What are you guys doing? What are you doing, Gaza, I suppose? As there's a sort of like this staring thing. Yeah?
Sorry, I thought Sean did it.
She
Oh
did
no,
a wave.
I'm falling out of focus.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
okay.
I genuinely thought you were
Aren't we all in this
waving.
world?
I was
like,
Aren't we all?
okay.
Yeah.
helpful.
I'm
Better to use your
that
voice.
blurry.
We use the words.
So what are you guys doing? The father sort of you see him watching, and he starts to make his way over a little bit, but he keeps his distance as he sort of sees this thing, and as you're reconvening, he decides to hold off and just sort of wait to see if you want to approach him. Feel free. So guys, what are you doing?
Yeah. Seeing them, I'm like, what are you doing here?
I'm gonna be moodily at the back, like with my arms folded like a teenager.
We all need to sit down and have a talk about what we're going to do next. And I have some thoughts on this. So, is there anyone else in the church?
Young family,
like,
very
yeah,
happy.
There's maybe half a dozen others, plus the father, within the church. There's a family of 4 and a couple of other individual people, but they're distant. I mean, you could find a set of pews. You know, you're not really moving them around easily without causing a lot of noise. But if you were to sit in the pews, there's an area that you could sort of be on your own. Alternatively, one of the rooms you've been in is effectively like a book room. There's no the other rooms that you've seen 3 or 4 of them.
I was going to go and ask. I was going to go and ask the father. Is it all right if we use one of the back rooms for a few moments?
Because by all means, you're welcome to use everything here as much as you need. If you are to take any books, by all means, take them, read them. But we don't have a returning supply, so please do return them. But that is all I ask. And let me know what you've taken, of course. But yes, that's by all means.
Yes. I'll go towards the nearest the book room and start beckoning people over.
Make your way over moodily.
Yeah.
There's definite mood in your step. You all head over.
I can see the black eyeliner.
We'll
already.
head over.
Cool. Yeah. Obviously, again, just assume that Arena's coming with, unless otherwise said.
Fine. Yeah. Has Rain come in as well, or is he still sitting on his pew on his
Well,
own?
I mean, you guys had approached him effectively. It was sort of
Yeah.
rejoining the amorphous party group, and you all
As
make
long
your
as
way.
everyone's in.
Yeah, you'll make your way into the room, and again, there's a small side table and a couple of chairs. There isn't enough for everyone to sit down, but there's enough space for you all to stand without being like in each other's space, and sort of form a circle of sorts, and close the door behind you.
Right. Okay. Has anyone got anything they want to say before I start? No?
No.
Shut up,
Irina.
Irina.
Everyone just
Kick
has
her out the door.
I was
It
thinking.
reminds me of a time with my brother, and it made me sad.
Look, that's about all she has going on in her life right now.
It is.
She doesn't have. She's not a great
Really
conversationist.
busy.
Okay, like, it's like my life has been sad. An evil guy wants me, and my brother is gone. That's her. That's all she sees. But no, she's quietly watches and listens. As a note as well, as you guys were heading over here just beforehand, and Guzzo, there's a window in the room that you're in, because again, this is a church of the Morning Lord, and all the rooms have windows to bring in any natural light. You noted that the sun was setting. You know, it's the after. It's, you know, with the time you spend in the tavern, the time you've been discussing, moving around, praying, writing letters. It's hitting about 5 or 6. It's getting to, you know, night is coming. It's not quite here yet, but you can definitely see the sun as you're actually, when you're writing the letter, you're in one of the western rooms. You would have seen the fogged sun sort of beaming through the window, whereas now you're in a sort of a gloomier eastern room. So sorry, I just thought I'd just give you a reminder that it is coming to evening.
Sure. Okay. I know that the last few days have been pretty shit. And I know that we've made some pretty big mistakes, some pretty terrible choices. And we've got plenty more choices to make going forward, I think. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd like to avoid making any more poor choices and stupid mistakes. So I think we need to have this talk and really decide on what our ultimate goal is and what our course of action towards achieving that goal is going to be. And as far as I'm concerned, now, my goal is to fucking get rid of Strahd. It seems to me that he's the cause of most of the shit time that we've had here, whether directly or indirectly. Don't know if anyone disagrees with that, but that's how I feel about it. And I suspect he's responsible for a whole lot more that we're not even really considering. Does anyone disagree that that's a good goal for us to have?
I agree. I think it is very much a good goal, and that's partly why I'm interested in this this invitation. Perhaps it wouldn't hurt to know more, but I doubt he is a man of his word.
Right.
Still, I have hope.
Right. Well, that was going to be my next point, because way we move forward, I don't see why we can't see it like a big heist, like I used to do in the old days. First rule of planning a heist is you actually plan for it. You don't go, if you want to rob someone, you don't go barging through their front door, underprepared and under-equipped. And I think we learned a pretty important lesson about that the other night at the Coffin Makers. So...
No comment.
No, it's alright. But, so... And my opinion is that if we go to Strahd now and we accept this invitation, I don't think we are ready for anything that he might have if it goes wrong, which I am almost 100% sure it will. And I know there are people here who would agree with that and who probably don't want to go in the first place.
Probably lock eyes with them. Green.
Yeah, I just saw like share a sort of knowing glance and just smile. I was just like, yep.
And I've talked to Zadie about this, and Trundle too. And I understand their point of view that there's not really a lot of other good options right now. At least not as far as they can see. And I get it, because all we have to go on are these fortune tellings, and I'm prepared to take a few things on faith, or chance, whatever you call it. But I understand the skepticism. Of course I do. We don't want to waste important time chasing rainbows. So, I have a compromise, which actually recent revelations have made it slightly easier for us to get to. My initial thought was that we need power, or we need something that's going to help us. We need information, we need things that we know will work to, I don't know, just, we need preparations and power, and there is power here in Barovia, and we are sitting in a perfect example of it right now. This church is powerful. The bones that we put under the floorboards are powerful. Even I, as someone completely faithless, can't deny that. My original plan was going to be that there might be other sources of power in holy places in this land. Things that can repel Strahd, or at least the things that are like him. So my suggestion was going to be that we go to Kresik and we go and investigate the church there. And maybe go to some more holy places in Barovia and see what they might hold. They might hold power or just information, anything that could be of use to us. And I thought that maybe somewhere along the way we'd see the sign that the fortune lady told us about. We'd find this treasure hidden in the house of the saint behind the sun. And then those of you that are skeptical about it, you might have been more open to the possibility that there was more to these fortunes than just hokum. Does that seem fair?
Well, I'm more than happy with this plan. Sign me up.
Well, I know you are, and I know you are, Gaza. But
Sorry, did you specifically say Kresik, or did you say just Barovia?
I said Kresik first.
Kresik.
And
Oh, fine, cool, thank you. Sorry, my
Barovia
cut out for me.
wider sort
Sorry.
of. Kresik is a port of call.
Yes, sir. Then,
Yes.
as you point to me, then yeah, I'll be nodding as well.
That was the initial idea, but Zadie was just speaking to the half-elf gentleman in the tavern. Turns out that he might have already given us a lead towards another sign that the fortune teller told us about. The entertaining man with the monkey. It seems that this man lives in Vallaki. And we can go and find where he is. And maybe see if he really is more than he appears, like she said. So this maybe works in our favor. If Trundle, Zadie, if you still think that we should go up to the castle, then maybe we can still do that tomorrow night. It was tomorrow night, wasn't it?
It was.
It was. But in the meantime, we can investigate this man and see if there is something to these fortunes we were told.
I think that is a wise course of action.
And then we can decide more from there if we want to do more of them down in Kresik and other places. Does that seem right to everybody?
Best idea I've heard in a while.
Mm-hmm. I still think if we're gonna be in Vallaki for a little bit longer, we should still try and find these crow folk.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, we could do that at the same time. There's plenty of reasons to stay in Vallaki. This was just something that might lead to more more exploration in other places to do with these fortunes if there was something to it.
Mm-hmm.
But my initial plan was that we had to make a definite choice. We either travel to Kresik and we lose the opportunity to go to Strahd's castle if we wanted to do that. Now we may still have the opportunity to do that while following this lead. But I think for now and for the future, I've tried to come at this logically. Take personal vendetta and feeling out of it, try and make sense of it all.
I think you've done a real good job.
Thank you. Was the one thing I was good at, planning, but I think probably the more important thing is that this keeps us together. And I know that some of us may hate each other's guts at this point, and some of us are strangers. Some of us are just unsure about everything at the moment. I know I'm not sure about most things. This place is just pure chaos and just terror around every corner. But I think we have a much better chance of facing it, surviving, if we stick together. We don't have to be friends, but we should at least be a team.
I have no problems with this. We should probably go and find this man the half-elves told us about. I can't remember exactly the directions he gave us though.
To the north, I think, of town.
Hmm.
He said there were signs for his shop, I think.
A toy shop, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
He gave relatively clear instructions, so you have an idea. It's not far at all. It's from not far from the Blue Water Inn. It's maybe like 5 or 6 buildings north, like up the route out the north end of town.
So I completely agree that this should be somewhere we go, but I think heading to some random shop owner at night went wrong one time.
That was. That's a
It's
very
not
good,
until
very
his
good
office hours.
observation, Zadie, and perfectly is an example of the kind of forward thinking that we need to implement in the future.
So maybe when he's open tomorrow.
Maybe.
What time is it right now?
Like I said, it's 5:30ish, 6ish. It's as this conversation takes place, you find yourselves those. I mean, even though some of you have dark vision, it's still more pleasant to sit and converse in light. There's very little light coming in from the window to the sort of high-ish window to the east. So you do have to light candles to sort of brighten the place up a little bit, but it is, and there's a lamp sort of sitting on the desk, so you're able to light that and then, but it's getting dark. It's like settling into nighttime.
Then we'll speak to him in the morning.
Mm-hmm. All right, and perhaps we'll investigate crow people and the coffin maker as well. We still need to follow up on that too.
I think that should be left to the point that we'd be okay with being kicked out of the town.
Rain and I was thinking.
Yeah, sorry, go.
Rain and I was thinking of leaving town tomorrow morning to head on our way to Kresik. Ain't that right, Rain?
Yes, it was. I have good faith that following back to the Abbey of St. Markovia might lead to some fruitful expeditions. This may interfere, but we can always return. It's only a short journey.
You don't think you could delay by one day?
I look to Rain.
If we must, for now. For the sake of just all the look around all of you. For everyone.
Thank you. I understand you want to go back to your hometown.
It's not that. There's many people of faith here, and perhaps you could shed some light on a situation that I myself am completely unaware of.
What situation is this?
The Abbey of St. Markovia follows the morning. The abbot, strange fellow, comes down occasionally into the town, at least while I was there. He's young. Incredibly young. I would say perhaps even younger than me, and hasn't aged a bit, not least not while I was there. And I think it would just be interesting to see perhaps what would happen if people of other faiths just turned to Zadie and Gaza were to approach him in a different fashion. He almost never leaves.
Zadie is the same faith, is she not? I mean, they call it a different name, but isn't it?
All I've heard is her talk of Pelor, and I'm not aware of who that is.
Oh, I think they're the same. Just a different name out where I'm from. Same symbol.
Fact.
Hold up my holy symbol. Look at hers. I am. I guess. Well.
Zadie's is definitely more impressive.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a. yours is functional.
It's bigger
but...
than yours.
Shinier.
It was a birthday present.
How wonderful. I wonder whether or not the abbot would appreciate seeing. It's just a thought. I don't like leaving these things all too long. I've been away from home for quite a time. I'd like to see whether or not my home is still in some form of use. But regardless, should you need a place to stay for a couple of nights while we're there, my home is as good as yours, I suppose.
Well, if you, like I said, if you're happy to postpone, then we can all do what we need to do tomorrow. And
well, I must admit, chasing a monkey doesn't seem as fruitful as exploring a holy site, but if that is what you wish.
something that we can do here, and keep our options open. For those of us who want to keep those options open.
I figured you might have all wanted a change of pace from this place. So I'll look around. All will be well after all.
Ugh. Next person I hear say that, I'm gonna punch in the face. Ugh.
Except you won't, because otherwise you're going to end up in a fate far worse.
That's true.
And that's the kind of forward thinking we like to appreciate round here.
Can I punch you in the face for saying that? I
Well
won't.
then, all would not be well now, would it?
Oh, for goodness sake.
I just
Someone
laughed.
Someone hold me back. You're a funny man.
Funny
half.
haha or funny strange. Don't answer that.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
This is Goodfellas now. Funny how?
Clown funny?
Yeah.
Fucking
Just, yeah, one of you just turns into Joe Pesci. Sorry.
Okay, then if we are agreed on that, then perhaps there's something we can do tonight. Not.
Irina sort of looks at you and says, "I'm all for destroying that monster, but I think, in a similar vein to what Zadie has said, if remember what happened last time, you tried to do something positive at night. Two of you did not come back."
No, I don't mean do anything necessarily, but there's still people in here we can talk to, gather information.
Just as
There are
long as you
there are
do not-
books here. They may have some information.
It's possible.
Not very a bookish person myself, but I don't know anything about vampires. Be nice to know if they have any weaknesses. I don't know. Just want to make use of my time.
No, it's a good idea. I was worried you would want to go
No,
venturing off into the night and never return.
No. But looking to you, you've had encounters with Strahd. I know you don't feel especially comfortable thinking or talking about it, but if there's anything you can tell us, or anything you know about these kinds of creatures just from living here your whole life, what it sounded like.
She sort of shrugs. I mean, he is different from any others. He must be. He holds such sway over this whole place, this whole town, this whole land. He is.
See, this is what I mean. That I think he's responsible for more than what we realize. I mean, he took credit for the werewolves and things like that, but
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I suspect this, but can you confirm it? That he is the reason why we can't leave?
You see it kind of like thinking, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Of that there is little doubt. But he keeps people here perhaps to relish in their suffering. I'm not sure. But if destroying him, well, if there's any way to do it, destroying him is the most reasonable thing I can think of. He would hold the key to this whole place. He possesses unnatural knowledge and, like I said, sway over this whole place. He knows it like the back of his hand. And she kind of shudders and just tails off. I don't know. Vampires, they are undead. Of that there is, you know this. They're not stupid. Other creatures of that kind you might find to be simple, single-minded, hungry for flesh or souls or whatever it is they tell you about ghosts and ghouls and things of this nature. But they possess that some shred of the darker tendons of humanity that were part of them in life rise to the fore in that way when they are no longer living but thirsting for blood. They are. She sort of tails off. I don't know. These are all just stories you're told as a child, and it's not like we see vampires here often. This is only he has ruled this place, yes, but day to day before this, we lived most of our lives with only seeing the shadow of the castle over our small village this whole time. But I don't know. I'm not the one to speak to. She kind of shrugs and tails off. but destroying him, I will stop at nothing to do so. What about the rest of you? She still looks around. You have been quiet. Mostly. We do as suggested? This man with the monkey, and maybe these crow people as well, and beyond there, then perhaps Krezek. Again, she looks at the collective.
I would agree. I feel that at least one of these will lead us somewhere useful.
All right.
I already said. I think that sounds good.
I'm curious to what your knowledge is of Strahd and if it's similar to mine. I always heard he was brought about by the sins of past Barovians.
Are you just saying this to
Yeah,
Arena?
asking Arena.
Yes, I do not know what brought him to this place. It's just he is evil incarnate, and if that is the souls of Barovians past, then well, best to send them on to the afterlife for good. And if not, well, it's still a fucking monster.
Now that I can agree on. Well, I'm glad you're feeling motivated. Is everyone else?
I've had enough time feeling sorry for myself, and sorry for us, and sorry for your friends who are no longer with us. Must take action one way or another. But it seems you're no longer intent on going to his castle. Or at least you will not have time if you go to Krezek, and to be honest, I'm rather glad you have not pushed the envelope on this. And she looks towards you, Rare.
Like I said, it's an option that will remain on the table until after we have been to this monkey man.
She nods. She says,
I won't discount it purely because I know that Trundle and Zadie have not discounted it. And I know I made my feelings clear yesterday about what I think about this. I don't like it. I think we'll be walking to our deaths, but if that is what is, if Zadie goes, then I go. I've made that clear to her.
She nods. Says, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Exactly. I'd rather not think about it right now.
And she sort of pulls back out of the conversation away.
You guys want to hear something that I know y'all will hate?
Oh, go. Oh, do we have to? Go on.
So there's this old story that my daddy used to talk about. I can't remember how it goes, but it's the story of how vampires were first created. And it was back, before humans were really humans, and when Pelor was ruling over and, walking the earth and all that, there were a group of people what turned away from him, and he weren't too happy about that, and he turned them to vampires. The idea being that they could return back to his fold just as long as they ask for forgiveness, and a lot of them don't do that. So, that being that the Morning Lord is here and pretty powerful, as we've seen, maybe Strahd just needs to say sorry.
Well, we can work on that. Turning them back.
Mm-hmm. It's an
That's
old
why-
story. I never heard of it happening, and no, to be honest, I ain't heard that many stories about vampires. But the ones I do hear, they tend to end up dead rather than forgiven. Although I guess once they die, they can ask. But it's an old
It's
story.
That's why you. Is that
I
why
don't-
you were? Is that why you were so desperate to find where Richter had gone? You thought we can save him if he is a vampire now?
Maybe. I don't think. I don't think he's got that much to ask forgiveness for.
Yeah, I know it seems strange that you would that would be a criteria if you were made a vampire against your will.
Yeah. Like I said, it's old. But so's Strahd. So's this place.
Maybe. Maybe we can. Maybe there's someone in Barovia that knows more about Strahd's history. Might give us a clue to maybe not making him human again, but maybe killing him, I don't know. Irina said that he called her by a different name once. Tatiana, was it?
She just nods. Yes.
Don't strike me as a name you would just blurt out by accident. Must have some sort of significance for him.
She sort of shrugs and says, I suppose so. I have never had the name before. But
How long has... You know how long Barovia has been this way?
she shakes her head. No. As long as I know, as long as I remember.
As long as I remember as well.
It goes back beyond my family.
You've not heard tales from your father or grandparents? Nothing?
I never knew my grandparents, but
No.
my father, no. He said we're unlucky, but he did, until his death, he did everything he could to protect people from harm, but he was getting old and there weren't few people to protect in the village of Barovia. At least everyone is afraid or gone.
So this... Well, it tells us that we will only have a very limited knowledge of Strahd from human history. Perhaps if we find someone here slightly longer lived, they might have to tell us. But that is for if and when it occurs. We have our goals. We know what we need to do tomorrow.
Irina sort of, having sat down on one of the chairs nearby, she stands up and says, it's getting late. I hope you don't mind if I take my leave, but I will see you in the morning, yes?
Are you going back to the tavern?
No, I'm going to stay here. My father has been very accommodating. Yes, let me stay in one of the spare rooms here.
Shall we all
before.
stay here?
I don't think there are enough beds, but
I'm used to sleeping on a floor.
You're welcome to join me, but please stay where you wish. I will see you in the morning either way.
Stop it.
Invitations.
It was a request, and she just said, "Yeah, sure. If you want to chill, not Netflix and just
well, you
relax."
You can't say no because of the implication.
What are they? They just go outside. You'll... God damn it. Let's just
Right.
destroy me. So she gets up, sort of bejeweler you, and heads sort of across the way to the other room that she's staying in. And you're left alone in silence.
I'm gonna just hang by the door and see what others are saying until they leave or say they'll stay for the night as well. Sorry.
I mean, if everyone's staying, then I don't see why Trundle would just wander off on his own to the tavern.
I was actually, I was gonna go pray if that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll leave.
I love how it's just like a thing to the room. It's just like
Just like
the
silence,
mind,
like,
the
yup.
mind, like yup.
just in the back of everyone's head.
Cool. So yeah, Zadie makes her way to the pews and makes a prayer to the Morning Lord. I assume.
She's going to get her wings out while she does it.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
It's very cool.
You pray and your wings sort of burst out from behind you, and again this sort of aura that emanates around you, gives off this glow and is almost enhanced by the protective nature of this place as it sort of rides up through you. Just as you glance left and right, again, as before, your wings are, damaged and tattered. They are beautiful. They're just not whole. But they're there, and you hear like a couple of gasps from in the other side of the pews. You saw again not the same family as before, but a different family of just three, sort of again in awe of this moment. But you focus on your prayer, and I think it's a minute or 10 minutes. I can't remember how long. It doesn't matter how long it is. Either we'll say it's long enough for you to pray significantly to your Lord.
Yeah.
There's no answer. Even if you're not asking any questions, there's no reassurance other than the kind of mild warmth that this place kind of emanates, and the mild sort of very faint shimmer that you sort of see just from having seen the effect roll out over this place. There's almost like a latent. It's like staring at the sun for too long. There's and then looking at something else. It's a bit like that. You can still see the kind of the sparkling of this wall even a couple of days after.
Having just had that conversation of being reminded of the vampire stuff, I'm essentially, and knowing that I ping as undead, I'm essentially going to be asking for forgiveness because I'm smarter than a vampire and I like him. So
that's fair. You ask away. There's no seeming change to the way you feel, or as your wings sort of recede back in and fold in. There's unfortunately, no change to them or anything. You look outside, unfortunately it's dark, and there's no glimmer of light that sort of flashes just briefly. Nothing to give you a motive, like it says any sort of sense of motivation. But you know how prayer is. It's not like prayer is actively answered in a lot of ways. Sometimes it's just the faith that keeps you going, that allows you to do good and to spread light in the world. What are the rest of you doing?
Well, Trundle's only really going to be looking to get to bed sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be about it.
Cool. Rain. Ray?
Go on.
No, you go.
I'm actually gonna bid my farewell and say I'll be resting at the tavern should anyone need me.
Mm-hmm. And you make your way out
Yep.
or waiting perhaps for others to join you. Rhea.
I'll step out the door with him.
Trundle as well.
I mean, I was going to go to the tavern if at least one person was going to go.
Well, yeah,
I didn't
sure,
want to
so,
come
so,
in.
yeah. So they're heading as well. Zadie, I mean, you're mid prayer, Guzza, as the others sort of linger at the door for a minute or so, like out, the main door to the church. You're still in the side room.
How near is Zadie Satchel?
If she's wearing it, it's
Wearing it.
far away. It's on her back.
I'll wait. I'll wait and sit and pray.
Okay. What, in the actual main church?
Mhm.
Okay, so
They try and out-pray each other.
yeah, and I mean, as this is all still during Zadie's prayer,
I'm
there
not
is an
praying 'cause I win.
there is an unmistakable arch of wings. These kind of it's rather beautiful, relatively pristine, but gappy, white sort of shimmery wings that sort of have spread out, and you see this kind of awe coming from others. They're not huge, mind. They are sort of maybe a sort of 12-foot span across, which is big, I suppose, but six
plenty.
foot either side. Sure, it's kind of like arced around and curved slightly. But you go and pray elsewhere in the church. It's rather a large church, so you go and pray as the others make their way back to the tavern, and that's where we're going to take a break. But we'll Zadie and Guzzo, you guys looking to have a conversation, or are you going to be heading to rest for the night?
I'm very much dependent on what Zadie intends to do.
For
If she's
sure.
going to leave, I'll follow. If she's going to stay, I'll stay.
I'll be staying.
And I'll be staying.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll take a break there. We will take a break till say 35 past. We've got 12 minutes to go grab a drink, go to the bathroom because I've been dying for this for like an hour.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in, like I said, about 15 minutes. We'll say just after 35 past because we're always a little bit delayed. Maybe 20 to 10. Just to give us a little bit more time. This gives us like 15, 17 minutes. Where we will be back to continue this. Again, roleplay heavy. I love it. And
Good direction.
where you guys
Role-playing game.
where you guys will be heading to bed, but it will be like but one more thing kind of moment. Where you guys may
Oh,
have
no.
a conversation.
More.
No, not from me. I meant
One more thing!
from these two,
thing.
from the two that are going to talk. But
Someone else watch Jackie Chan's Adventures.
right.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back in 15.
Yes, the
guys.
same.
Peace. Right, and we're welcome back. Yeah, I just ate, so I'm quite happy. Let's just dive right back into it. So, three of you will head off to the Blue Water Tavern to rest up for the evening or the night. Again, it's like dusk. It's hitting dusk at this point in time, and as you make your way back, there's still a few people about. Doing their things, lighting the lanterns outside their homes, closing down their places of business. But you're otherwise uninterrupted as you move through the town and make your way back there. Back in the church arena again, you see her kind of out talking to the father a little bit. Zeddy and Gaza. Well, Zeddy, you see them talking, but the two of you are sort of left there. Far, a decent distance apart, 5 or 6 rows of pews apart as you pray to your respective gods, and wait up for the. What are you guys having a conversation? Is this
good?
Or...
Good.
Or no? It's up to you. Entirely.
Yeah, it is. I'm really sorry. It's a harder question than I thought it would be.
That's all right. And as the sun rises, neither of you get a long rest.
Yeah.
You sit there like.
No, I will sleep on it. But if she's staying here for the night, then I'll possibly talk to her in the morning. That's all. If nothing else.
Are you heading back to the tavern or?
No, I'm gonna fall asleep on the pews.
Then I'll fall asleep on the pews.
Not at all creepy. No, I'm just kidding. So as you fall asleep again, it is a bit of a rough night's sleep, but none of you have any visions, any any of these kind of malison that have preyed on your minds for the last, or at least some of the last few nights. Is there anything anyone else is doing before they get to bed as well? Nope. Cool. Just double checking. Cool. So you'll
Wait.
rest.
Nothing. Just being a dick.
You'll lose more than your eyes next time. So you all rest up, and again the new dawn rises to the east as you all awake and roughly around the same time, rather than sort of doing the delaying of being like one person comes downstairs, then another person comes downstairs. You will make your way downstairs to the tavern, the three of you that are there, around the same time, and are able to get yourself a hearty meal in the morning before you venture off and do anything, as you imagine any shops that would be opening would still be opening. In the church, again, both of you are wakened, gently by Father Lucian, who gives you both some water and sort of bowls of water, and Irina sort of in the church as well. But she recognizes the somewhat divide, the somewhat thing, and she doesn't really approach either of you as although she hung around with Zadie a bit more. There's definitely like a bit of a wariness around both of you. So she kind of hangs around, talking to the father a little bit and kind of waiting for you guys to move off one way or another. But as again, you guys are reconvening at the. Where are you convening? I'm guessing you would have discussed this, but I want to get clarification.
I'd say if you're going back to the church.
Oh, so you'd go to the church? Okay, cool. All right, so.
What?
Tavern's closer.
Well, I mean, I assume that they probably actually want to come and get something to eat before we set off. So they're probably. I imagine they might come in while we're eating, unless they have a very long.
Well, as they sit there and pray in the morning, Irina will approach each of you separately and go and sort of the two of you in the church and just say sort of, I'm going to head off and join the others at the tavern. I will see you there.
Mm-hmm. I'll be right down.
Okay. And she says much the same kind of thing to you guys. Will you join us at the tavern?
Mm-hmm. Sure will.
And she just places her hand on your shoulder briefly and moves on. And you guys at the tavern, you see her arrive. It's early. You guys had a plan. You aimed to have this done, and then you will still want to have choices. So you're doing this earlier in the day. So she arrives, grabs some food as well. Again, Owen, you see him still sort of rubbing the dust out of his eyes, but he taps you all food and drink as appropriate. And I believe you are now having to pay for your nights at the tavern. I think you had paid, possibly, for the previous one. Either way, he's feeling hospitable and doesn't charge you for the previous night if you hadn't already been charged, which you may have. But any subsequent nights will cost you. And I believe it's like half a gold per person, I think. So, depending on how many people are staying at the tavern, you will be paying in the future, just as a heads up. So okay. Irina rejoins you all at the tavern. The two of you remain sitting in the church.
Yeah, I'll just do another forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Yeah. The mental self-flagellation.
We're approaching that, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, not yet. So you, but
and then I'll leave.
Okay.
As she's leaving, I hope that. Sorry.
It's like I can imagine Gaza.
I would either. I mean, yeah. If she's leaving first, then I'm going to be like, oh crap, she's leaving, and seeing her leave, I'll chase after her and hope that I can catch her on the walk back to the tavern.
I mean, unless you're really pacing it, then you could quite easily catch up with her. And as it's outside the front of the church practically as you sort of get yourself up.
Question: are there crows on the roof?
Of the church, there's a couple, for sure.
Oh, as I go out, are you people?
They're quite high up, but as you set out, they're kind of skittery hopping on the sort of the edge of the peak of the church. And sort of just its head beadily looks down at you, sort of head twisting slightly. Lets out a call, which I can't do, so I'm not going to attempt, but you get the idea. Just hopping about. Just continues to hop about. And then stops.
Thank you. Could still be a yes, to be honest.
You don't know. It's a bird on the roof.
I asked, though, so... bonus points. Worth a shot. All right, yeah, no.
And as she sort of like walks away from that and starts moving away from that, I'll chase up, run up to her and be like, Sadie, wait. And sort of like let her sort of held in my hand and just look at you and just be like, you can't fucking read. Just completely like, Guzza, your intelligence stumps me again. Like, Sadie, wait, I have I have words here. I didn't have the strength to say them yesterday, and handing you to this point would be somewhat redundant. So, if you'll allow me, I've written a letter, and I'd like to read it.
Okay.
Everyone else, apologise. This is about 4 paragraphs long. I'm making about a minute in talking.
Oh my god, so much to go for.
Sorry, everyone.
Let's do it.
Never talked that much ever before.
Well, I'm giving everyone a warning this time,
And it
so
has
at
to
least
be-
I'm
it has
learning
to
as
be
well.
Fully an accent.
That's more than I gave them. So.
If we just said no, what would be the course of action?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, I'll post you the link and you're welcome to read
Fade
it.
to black, and we never hear what was said.
Can I talk to you? No.
Go.
I mean, we've done that. Sure. Okay. Like, just, I don't know if it's a wax seal or anything. Just peel that letter open. I don't know how you close a third letter. I don't know. Anyway.
I like to imagine Guzza doesn't know either. And it's just sort of like melted just a pool of wax onto it, and just like not the right
Sure.
kind of wax. It's burnt a hole in the letter.
Gee. In it. Zadie, I hope the protective light of the sun, Pella's greatest labor, shines brightly upon you and your path, and this letter reaches you in good health. May the divine wisdom guide your feet, and may your shield swing to punish the wicked and liberate the oppressed. I write to you today because our journey has been a dark one. I did not think this trip to the accursed world would be a simpler and easy one, but I was not wholly prepared for the things we have seen. There have been unspeakable horrors, often quite literally. It has been most upsetting. As I composed this letter, I found that I am still with wounds, although perhaps not in the physical but in the mental instead, ones were not easy to resolve with a simple bandage. I have always known that I am the tool of Chantier, once and future queen of this realm, but I begin to wonder what kind of tool I am. I imagine myself as the shepherd, which provides for the safety of my flock, and my work will endure for generations. Perhaps instead I am the fence, useful but doomed and undone in a season or two. I do not lament my role, for I am truly overjoyed to serve in whatever capacity my Lord requires me, and I hope I can serve for long after I am called for from the mortal world. To guide you back to the cleansing now is the only task presented to me by her eternal majesty. It appears that I have failed you in that so far. There is darkness inside you, Sadie, but I believe with all my being that darkness is only visible because of the incredible light that emanates from within you. You have a gift, and I hope that one day you will appreciate that our gifts are given to us so we may use them to give to others. They say the world rests on the edge of a blade, and you should be prepared for that when that blade strikes, so your shield can protect the world from its harm. Make the world a better place. Make the world a place where... Just a long moment here. Make the world a place where... If my son Benjamin has to become a man without his father, he has the chance to live a good life. I believe in you, Sadie. Believe in yourself. Sincerely yours, Dimitri.
There's darkness in me? You turned into Richter to hurt me yesterday.
It has not been... Sorry.
Words are sweet, but you ain't apologizing.
I am sorry. I didn't think the simple words would be enough. I hoped that this would be something, but I know and I'm trying. I'm really trying.
You're just telling me a load of things that are wrong with me or that I'm doing bad, and not addressing the fact that you couldn't even let me look for Richter for a day and then...
You have every right to be mad. I know that. But I've spoken with my God as well, and I know where my path is. If you want to look today, you're welcome to. I'll even help you, but
Stop telling me that... Look, I'm no stranger to acting holier than thou. I can admit that. But... you can't hide your own failings by just pointing out mine.
I mean, I'm trying here, Sadie. It ain't easy to follow one that you ain't been yourself. I am sorry. I know what I did was wrong, but surely forgiveness is something that we all seek, right?
Yeah, and you're sorry you get it, but that letter ain't asking for forgiveness. That was telling me to buck up.
Then it appears I still have work to do.
I didn't know you had a kid.
Well, he ain't exactly mine, is he?
I don't know. Did you know him?
He's a good kid.
Well, then we have to get you home.
I guess so. Just follow the letter.
Mhm.
Maybe try
Yeah.
not to be an idiot for a while.
I'm working on it.
I'm hungry. I don't think I ate yesterday.
Like
Me
Trundle,
too.
you do have a mouth. Sorry. So you
I'm just like sympathy.
So you make your way to the tavern, where the rest of you have pretty much finished eating at this point by the time they arrive. They arrive at the same time. Park themselves down in the remaining chairs left at the table.
I'll go get us 2 whatevers for breakfast.
Stew or wolf steak. It's the oats, maybe, if that's your jam.
Yeah, it's got to be porridge. I want porridge. Give me
Sure,
porridge.
there's oats. Why not? You can make some form of very miserable porridge. It's cold,
Sounds fine.
but you know.
Cool.
Miserable porridge.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But it is served up to you as requested, and yeah, you. It's not long before you're finished eating as well, and the rest are sort of all say packed up and ready to go. You notice the I give you his name now. Octavio isn't here this morning. He's not sat at the table, but you've been in and out before, where he has been here and hasn't been here. You've noted.
He's going to get his actors. We know.
Maybe. You don't know.
That's what he said. Why would he?
Don't know.
We could have been his entertainment.
But yeah, so you'll finish up your sort of your congregation as you wait there, as you decide what to do. So, what are you doing? Kids.
To the toy store.
Toaster?
Toy store.
Awesome.
If that's what we call it.
To the toy store. 3, 2.
Cool. So you make your way. You make your way sort of out to the east and north, up the sort of the central path of the town, and on the right hand side, again, pretty accurately based off of what you were told, is a rather slightly run down. It's like a dark looking shop, and it has a sort of a portico, and a hanging sign above it with a rocking horse on it, and there's a bee engraved on both sides of the rocking horse, on both sides of the sign, effectively. There are two sort of arched windows that frame it, and the interior looks kind of dingy, and you see loads of toys and sort of what do you call it? What's the term? I can't remember what the term is. Like mobiles, kind of hanging from the ceiling in a way that look, artsy and colourful, but untouched for a little while. And it does, there's no specific sign on the actual store besides this hanging sign of a rocking horse.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Are we
I'll
going to
knock on the
tell him
door.
that we heard about him in a fortune, or is that weird?
We'll just tell him that we heard about him from what's his name? Nictavio? Yeah, we'll tell him
Okay.
that. Maybe if it comes up in conversation.
So you head
And
in?
I'll knock on the door.
I mean, you knock on the door, and the latch sort of, like, as you tap it, sort of, it seems relatively loose and sort of just swings open a little bit, and you hear the sound of like a I don't know what you call them, a doorbell, effectively, the ones above a door when you move in. You hear it sort of just tapped as the door swings open ever so slightly, and you hear the sort of ding.
Hello?
The shop, I think.
You push your way in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the bell
And
sort
it's
of
not the middle of the
hangs.
night.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
It isn't the middle of the night, so
Thank goodness.
you can't possibly be murdered brutally. And
How's Zadie with
Oh.
seeing the sun and like sunlight and light and
I can tell
stuff?
the difference. I think I can tell the difference between night and day.
not really, unfortunately.
No?
You
Okay.
there's like
No,
it's like
it's just
when you
not great.
cast say light on something, or not even that per se, but when you when you see fog, there's like a very slight staticky
Why would
haze.
anyone
almost.
possibly confuse you?
And thank you for the host, by the way. Sorry, my notifications always get unmuted every time I switch scenes. Thank you very much. You can't really see the difference between light and dark, night and day. It's not something that's easily tangible for you to do.
But you would know anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you feel the faint warmth of the largely blotted out sun compared to the cool breeze of nighttime. But that's about the most distinct phenomena for you.
No, I have no idea. It could be midnight.
Yeah, that's true. But you step inside, and the bell sort of just slides off the door and sort of rings as it would. And you see a rather portly looking gentleman, sort of back left corner of the shop. There is a what do you call them? Like a till, effectively a bar. That this guy sort of steps up along, wearing a Joker's hat, effectively with bells on it and whistles, and he sort of steps up, walking his way forward. A thick, like chestnut coloured beard, maybe a little bit of grey sprinkled in here and there, and he looks at you grandly, looking almost perplexed and surprised as your entrance, and he goes, "Welcome, friends, to the house of Blinksy, where happiness and smiles can be bought at bargain prices. Perhaps you know a little child in need of joy? A little toy for a girl or a boy?" And he sort of just grandly gestures to you all and like sort of closes his hands with a big smile on his face. And you see shortly bounding after him a small monkey with a white face, brown fur, and a sort of a blackish muzzle almost. It's quite small. Sort of scurries up across the sort of shelves behind him and hops onto his arm and up his shoulder. The only odd thing noting about it is that it's wearing a pink tutu.
I think
Oh, that is
we
just
were.
the cutest.
I know. I think we were in need of the joy, but you have just provided it. Oh,
Well, I'm glad to be of assistance. Gadolf Blinksy at your service. How may I help?
pleased to meet you, Mr. Blinksy, and your little friend there.
Oh, this is Piccolo. We're old friends. And the monkey sort of just like grabs his finger as he sort of waves it up towards him, and then sort of like nibbles on it slightly, and pulls it away.
Oh,
Can I interest you with any of our wares here? All handmade by Blinksy himself.
okay, I'll have a look around and just.
I'll be having a browse as
Sure.
well, I think.
There's quite a few toys obviously scattered around here. Plenty of different things. Like I said, some hanging mobiles of clouds and night skies and stars and whatnot. But it's the kind of the dolls seem to be the main theme of this place, and they're not all the same. They're not all distinctly like China dolls or anything like that. They're largely seemingly sewn and stitched. But I mean, I can give you a rundown of some of the things you come across if you're just scanning the store as you sort of move around. You're all in the store, by the way. Have you all funneled in here? And again, you see, like, having seen you all come in, he's very wide-smiled, excitable. And again, like I said, his garb is colourful. It's kind of a purple and green cross-hatched pattern with the sort of hat with bells on it. Okay, so there's a few things. There's a set of toy gallows with a man on it, sort of wrapped in there with like a crossed eyes, and it's quite heavy. And there's a little lever on the side that you pull, and the guy falls in the gallows, and because he's weighted, he sort of falls down. And it like tugs on it slightly, and then he pulls the lever back up, and it moves up. There's what else is there? There's quite a few things here. There's one doll that seems to be headless. And it's rather disconcerting. But as you're doing this, he's sort of wandering around the store almost with you and pointing out some of the wares. And he says, "This is the doll of many faces, haha!" And it has this bag next to it. He opens it up, and there's several little heads that can be attached or detached as you choose. Like lots of different faces, boys, girls. The body is fairly sort of, inanimate of sorts. The fuck is that? No, the fuck is that? No, that's not normal. That's not normal at all. This is the last session we're having with Sean. Bye bye. Oh, no.
We're all cursed now.
The fucking doll. But yeah, it's sort of got detachable heads. There's a sort of the Matryoshka, the nesting dolls. However, they start like a baby on the outside, and as it opens up, there's like a sort of a child, and it goes to a young adult, and as you keep opening them up, it sort of gets smaller and smaller and smaller and older and older and older until the inside is just almost like what might actually be made of bone, sort of a bone coloured like skeleton. And it's laid out so that the first couple are visible, but then you sort of have to detach the remaining ones to see the rest. There's a merry-go-round with wolves chasing children. It seems to have a little dial on the side that you could turn to sort of make it spin, but it is currently stationary. And there's two dolls that catch your attention in some regard. One, there's a doll that looks largely like Count Strahd von Zarevich. The sort of black cape, accentuated big collar given to it and whatnot. But the stitching is very pale. There's fangs clearly on the front. Very dark cropped black like wool as hair, and it seems to be of relatively fine craft. The other one, again, it looks eerily like Irina, matching in looks at least, garb sort of, but the face is unmistakably well crafted, and it looks. It's like an uncanny resemblance to it all. She hasn't noticed it, but she is with you at the store.
Spotting those two, I won't immediately go towards them, but I'll start sort of making my way along the line of toys in their direction.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're actually like sort of on the shelves, like behind the the fuck is it? The counter. My god, it took me so long to figure that one out. The counter. There's like there's sets of shelves. Again, the monkey seems to sort of clamber across to get onto Blixie's shoulder. They are up there, but so they are behind the counter. But it's quite open-sided. You could wander around, albeit it's kind of. It would be one of those things that's probably frowned upon in a store. You know, like you could go there. You'd probably be like, sorry, could you not? But this guy just seems, get off Blinksy seems like just excited that you're here and interested. So he's sort of chatting away to those of you that will listen.
Yeah, I'll be sort of, wandering towards the counter, but just sort of saying, oh, this is amazing. I never had toys as a child.
So, only the best comes from Blinksy. And you have noticed as well, there's a tag that's attached to pretty much all of them with their prices on them, but like a stitched tag beyond that reads, "Is no fun, is no Blinksy." It's in all caps, stitched in, and seems to be like the recurring motto of these toys. And but yeah, again he goes, well, do any take your fancy? They are mostly for sale.
Do you have things that are not for sale?
Goes, well, it depends. Some made for customer order. No, some we just they are not for sale. But I'll let you know as such.
Are there any female dolls with blondish kind of hair?
Go ahead and make a duck of lice roll. Just a D20.
Alright, roll some lice. Of course.
Wow.
There's little of anything with
naturally.
Sort of, yeah. There's little of anything in this shop that has that kind of what you'd describe as blonde, just in terms of a color.
Yeah.
Seems like he's really out of any blonde wool or anything of that nature, or
White?
what material he's making. White is used, yes, but like sparingly. So yeah, there is white, but no dolls with white hair or blonde hair.
Okay. Well, there goes my death on that one. And I'm spent.
Yeah. The closest thing you'd get to white is one of the older Matryoshka, the nesting dolls. Again, as they age, do have the hair goes from sort of a darkish, almost black, to streaks of grey to like a full-on grey, but the face is like old and withered. So if that's not what you're looking for, then yep.
I'll continue looking around.
Zadie.
Are there any shepherd dolls?
Shepherd dolls. Probably not. No. They seem like most of them are quite generic. Like not many of them have props. There's a couple of like ventriloquist dummies, of which the Strahd sort of doll is one. But are
there any toy sheep?
Probably not either. No, they're mainly human as well, with the exception of there's like again the mobiles with bats on them and the wolves in the merry-go-round. But all the dolls, all of the things that are on their own, are all human or humanoid, effectively. Sorry.
Damn it.
Thank you very much, dude. Sorry.
That's how it is.
I'll find a different way.
So,
Okay,
so he looks at you and says, "So is there anything that takes your interest? Anything at all?"
Oh, you have some
Anything?
very fine words.
I'll grab one male doll, one female doll with, I imagine, black and brown hair, seeing as there's no blonde or white hair.
Yeah, they're mainly black, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, especially having lived here for quite some time, that largely the populace of Barovia are comparatively pale-skinned, have comparatively dark hair. There are not many people that you've seen around in your lifetime, and for those of you who are here as well, most people in Barovia seem to have darkish hair or have gone grey. So you grab one.
That's
grab
canon
one.
now. No blondes in Barovia.
No blondes in Barovia.
Yep.
Well, I must fucking stand out.
That one.
I'm not even blonde anymore. My hair just slowly fades to black.
Deal with it.
Much like this scene. So,
So
I'll grab one of each one that's sort of like slightly frilly girly looking, but almost cryptic. If there's anything like that.
yeah, I
And
mean,
then,
there's dresses and whatnot if that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
one essentially sort of like a dark kind of black dress kind of thing.
He goes, perfect, thank you. And he takes them, sort of checks the price, and he goes, that will be 2 silver.
I hand him 2 silver.
He says, and these are now yours. May you enjoy these, or may some child that you plan to give them to enjoy them. Whatever your personal preference.
Thank you for your.
good choice of words, shopkeep.
Well,
I just sort of tuck them into the chest as well.
but he's got like this big beaming smile as well
Yeah.
on his sort of goateed face. Again, big rotund man. He goes,
I
anyone
ain't seen
else? Hey.
I ain't seen a monkey in Barovia before. It doesn't seem like
He sort of
they're a natural habitat.
he chuckles and says, "Oh, well, we go way back. We're, like I said, we're old friends. Hey, Piccolo, come say hello." And he sort of like puts him on his arm and sort of brings him down to the counter, and the monkey sort of skitters across there without really stopping. But
A quick question, both for like narrative and so I know what's going on with this guy. Is he not perturbed that the woman with the blindfold on is asking about a monkey she shouldn't be able to see?
We've kind of like made that like not a thing in a way. Like
I
you
know.
I mean,
A few
there's
people
definitely
have
weird
said
looks,
it,
but this
though.
guy is just like excited to communicate with people.
Okay.
So he's kind of foregoing the weirdness of it all.
Okay.
Plus, you've been standing around, moving around the shop for a while, and the monkey's been making little bits of noise here and there, and you have friends with you as well. So, yeah. Plus, this is a world where magic is known to be a thing. So, you know.
Can I
weird to think
sense
about.
anything magical about the monkey?
Do you have detect magic?
I don't.
Then
No.
no. Yeah.
No.
Because you're not
Fair
because
enough.
you don't have
Fair
the
enough.
spell
No.
that lets you do that. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
I do.
You do, but are you casting it?
I have
No?
no interest. currently.
Exactly.
Unless I'm told to, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you get nothing magical about the monkey. It's wearing a tutu. That's the only thing that differentiates it from
magical.
a wild monkey, shall we say. That's the only thing. It's not wearing any sort of collar or any, like physically, it's just wearing a tutu.
Okay.
But it's a monkey. Best I can give you.
Seeing the doll that looks like Irina, I'll just do you do special orders by any chance?
He furrows his brow slightly. He goes, but of course I can. Yes, I mean, I haven't been making anything specific for a while, but if you, what are you looking for?
Well, let me say I wanted a doll that looked like one of us.
He sort of looks across the room and goes, well, those would certainly be some beautiful dolls. Well, how could I help? Who is the lucky subject who is being modeled after?
That one. I'll point to Gaza.
Sure. He looks at Gaza, sort of really taking in the half orc for the first time. He goes, "Oh, of course. Sometimes beauty comes from within. Am I right, friend?" I might be a little bit short on green wool, but I can. I promise I can make something happen. This and he sort of looks because he's looking between Rhea and Zadie, who are like conversation with one about custom making dolls, and the other one being like told who to make it for. He's like,
It's just I find it a strange coincidence. You seem to have already made one of my friend.
he
I'll
looks
point to
he looks confused.
And I'll point to Irina, and then I'll point to the doll next to the Strahd doll.
Sure. And as you point to Arena, who's sort of been lurking near the kind of the side back of the shop, kind of just just prodding things, moving things around, like spinning one of the merry-go-rounds. Just you can hear the kind of faint jingle that comes from it. As you point and then point at the doll, he sort of looks and squints and goes and says, "Oh, Piccolo!" And the monkey sort of goes, "Ta!" And the monkey scurries up and grabs the doll and brings it down. He holds it and goes, "Now that you mention it, you're awfully familiar.
Yes,
You're
I
not
thought
wrong.
so.
This is uncanny." And he just sort of examines it, sort of sets it down on the counter.
How long have you had that one?
I'm not sure, a few months maybe. But it's not for sale, I'm afraid.
Oh, is it not? Oh, that's a shame. 'Cause, my friend has had a tough time. It would have been nice to give her a gift.
I mean, Arena sort of shifted over and is kind of just staring at it like weirdly. Like looks at him but doesn't say anything. Says, "Well, I'm sorry, but it is not for sale."
I take it this. Were the two dolls close enough that they look like a pair almost?
No. It was my bad in terms of description. The
Okay.
Strahd one's slightly larger and more of like a mannequin in a way. It's still kind of got soft features, wool hair, wool eyes and whatnot. But there's like a sort of it's slightly larger and has strings hanging off of it from behind, which again I didn't emphasize enough on. But they're not next to each other. They just happen to both be behind the counter and up on the shelves, almost as more of a display of things that have been made that might not be for sale per se. But you do see tags on both.
Oh, you say it's not for sale, but it has a tag on it.
But no price. And sure enough,
I see.
yeah.
Oh.
So it's like he has a set of fairly generic tags that have "is no fun, is no blinksy" written on them. And on the other side, there's a writing of price, and he goes, no, unfortunately, this one is not for sale. But anything else in the store? He looks around. Yes, pretty much anything else.
So all the things behind the counter, apart from that doll, are for sale.
You see him looking around. He's like, "Well, I am not for sale, of course, and neither is Piccolo, but..."
What a shame.
He chuckles and goes, "Well, it is, like you say, it's not a common place to find a monkey, perhaps, but no, he's a good pet. Yes, pretty much everything else."
Okay.
So,
Let me have another look around first.
by all means, take your time. You're welcome anytime. And he sort of looks at the rest of you, trying to sort of catch any of your attentions, any sort of seeing if any of you are interested in stuff besides Rain, who's already purchased something. He goes,
Yeah, I already purchased 2 things.
"Yeah, he's a big fan of yours."
If I can manage to sort of pull Guzzer into a distant corner.
Yeah, the shop's pretty small, but there's enough like shelving and stacked crap that of trinkets and whatnot that you can at least move over to a side where not everyone is there. But you'd have to like be whispering to each other, which we can do stage whispering. It's all good, but you wouldn't be subtle because it's small enough.
I'll pull Guzzer into a corner, and under the pretense of looking at a few prices, I'll just say, "Do you remember that thing you did on this cloak I'm wearing?
I do.
Do you think you could do that if I could maybe get him out of the room for a few seconds?"
I suppose, but what is it that you think you wish me to cast it on? Forgive me, my phone is calling. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Pello would like to speak to you. No,
Well, that'd be awful nice, but I think Shanti is calling first. But that's a different story.
I'm sorry.
I'll
I
give
can't
you a
turn
hold.
it off. I can't turn it off.
She's been muted. Her god has smite her.
Yeah.
So in the meantime,
From what you're telling me, yeah, I think from
in the
what
meantime-
Sophie's
Stop.
suggesting.
It's
Okay.
stop. Okay. But yeah, I don't know, but I think it's maybe worth seeing. that's what the fortune said, right? This man is more than he appears. There's some kind of magic maybe here.
You think it's on the man or his slightly more hairy friend?
I really don't know. I can't tell these things. I don't have that kind of magic on me. But I don't dare ask him anything directly in case that goes very, very wrong.
Literally, as they're saying this, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be like,
No, go on.
so,
It's
so if that monkey's like not from Barovia, like where did it come from, and like where are you from, and how did you get, direct questions.
Yeah, sure. As you sort of talking to him, he sort of goes, "Well, the monkey has been mine for a long time. Like I said, old friends. He and I go way back. He's and he sort of just scratches the monkey, sort of like almost nuzzles into his finger a little bit. But
from somewhere other than Barovia, because like I said, I ain't seen a monkey around here.
well, you haven't looked hard enough, perhaps. You found one now, have
Maybe
you
we
not?
ain't been here for that long, so maybe.
Oh, you're not from around here. Explain why I haven't seen you in the store. We get so many customers.
No, we're real new.
Yes, well, so glad to see you coming to the right place. But
Yeah, it's real sweet here.
I'm glad you like it. It's all of this is of my own craft. It is I enjoy making people happy. Not like that. And he's like, with
No,
toys.
that's a real special talent.
Well, thank you. Perhaps there are not as many happy people as there once were, but I do
Really,
still
because
try.
this town seems like quite happy.
If this town was happy, then maybe that would explain why there aren't the most number of visitors. But hey, what does it matter?
It's real sweet in here. I would have loved any of these when I was a kid.
Says, well, we all have a little child inside us, don't we? Never quite leaves when you grow up.
Uh-huh. I used to real love the ones that you could let move.
Oh,
What
like
are they
this.
called?
He sort of he goes and like grabs a sort of a wooden. It's more wooden carving, relatively simple in terms of the way it looks. It's all painted on rather than any with just hair that is black and quite long, but it's about the only thing. But the arms are sort of interposable and movable, as well as the legs, and the sort of body twists and the head twists a bit. He says, I wouldn't twist it too much, but this one you can put in any shape or pose as you like.
Me and my brother used to play with things like this.
Oh, no way. It's fun to hear. Your brother with you here today? He looks across at everyone.
No, he ain't. He's off doing his own thing.
Well,
I mean, we're both grown now, so he's,
he nods. He says, well, perhaps I can make a doll of him if you so please.
Oh my god, I would actually love that. So he's...
You would? I mean, of course, it would be my pleasure, but it will cost, of course, time and, cost of making it would be a little bit more, but it would be...
Oh, well, I really don't know how long we're staying here, but I don't know. Maybe you could make me one and I'll pay you, and if I ever get time to pick it up, I'll come right back.
He says, that would, it would be my honor, of course. I must need some description, of course, and he starts to take notes, and if you're willing to give them.
Yeah. So I'll describe someone who looks like me, but essentially with brown hair and a dude.
Sure. It's a very strange looking person in terms of just do the gender swap and give him brown hair.
And with eyes.
Yes, and
Yeah,
with
he
eyes.
has,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. As
they
he's
all-
taking notes of this, he does get a bit not disconcerted, but there's like a certain there's unlike his smile has usually been just happy. As he spends a bit more time, everything's all fucked. Bear with me one sec.
No.
Oh, you're back. No, you've ruined everything.
She remembered.
We're back. It does feel like at some points the smile on his face is a bit pained when sort of talking to you, just because he's like finding the look of the blindfold and the kind of scars that kind of ride out from beneath it, just a little bit disconcerting.
Okay. I'll be like, "Are you okay?" I know.
Of course, happy to make something for a fun-loving person like you, such as like myself. You know, you seem to be a happy bunch, and this makes me happy.
You can ask if you want. I don't mind.
About what? About what?
About my face. It's really okay.
I did not think it necessary. Of course, you are a nice person. There's no need to. I don't know how to phrase. There's no need to pry. Of course, it is.
No, it ain't prying.
But, well, I mean, what happened?
We got attacked on the way here, and I got real wounded. And when I woke up, I was like this.
So that is horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. But it's okay. We'll get you this doll. It will remind you of home and remind you of your brother. Hey, how does that sound?
That sounds real good. I look forward to giving it to him.
Yes,
You know,
fantastic.
well, I mean, to give it to him, I'd have to get it out of Barovia and, with the mists and all.
Yes, it is trouble, no doubt. But I'm sure you'll find a way.
Yeah, you seem real confident about that. I ain't met anyone.
It does not pay to be sad a lot of the time. Not in this line of business, anyway. But I can, and he sort of finishes taking down a few more notes and says, I can put this together for you. It will take a few days, maybe a week, perhaps, but I will make this for you if you will give me the time.
Sounds great. How much will I owe you, or do I owe you? Like I said, I'll pay up front because I do not know when I'll be able to pick it up.
I appreciate that. You seem kind of mulling it over a bit. Say 1 gold piece is more than enough. It is for the time and the custom build,
Yeah, I will pay that straight up. And
His eyes kind of light up when you give him a gold piece. It's like, thank you. I will be sure to get that ready for you. If it is ready beforehand, is there anywhere I can leave you a message? Maybe
with the father at the church.
He nods and says, Lucian, yes? Of course. Yeah. I will leave a message with him as soon as it is ready, okay?
Thank you.
And he nods happily. Meantime, people at the back of the room are alternate people. Rain, you do anything?
Rain, I'm going to. I would have stepped outside by this point, I think, just to like clear the room a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit cramped as well. So.
Yeah, I step outside, and is there any like scenery nearby where I could sort of like a bush or something, trees perhaps?
There's not too many. There's like trees behind the shop. Effectively, you'd have to go around it, but then there's a couple. There's not many.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, I go around the shop, but behind the shop to where the trees are, and I sort of. Do I have anything in my? Hold on, let me check my character sheet. Do I have anything in my box to like? I want to wrap these dolls up and leave them sort of like out of sight, but somewhere to the side.
Sure. I mean, I'm assuming you have some kind of cloth or whatnot that you're able to.
Yeah, I must have some kind of. I surely have some kind of cloth. It's not on the list, but.
Yeah, I mean, you're now out of cloth.
Would I?
But you've used it to wrap these just both dolls?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Both dolls. And you sort of tuck them sort of by the roots of the trees. Like, again, there's a little bit of grass, and you're able to sort of tuck it there without anyone sort of being able to see it easily. If someone came up to the tree, it'd be pretty much unmissable, but this is behind the shop, sort of. Yeah. There's no thoroughfare through here, so someone would have to either be seeking it out or specifically coming to this tree. So I just sort of as I leave them there, I stand up, take a step away, and then I sort of say out loud, "There's no one nearby, is there? Like no one nearby that I can visibly be aware of."
No.
I just I say out loud, "Looks like funds in short supply these days. I hope this alleviates your spirits." And then I just stand outside the shop.
Sure, you make your way back around to the front of the shop. You've got a few minutes, maybe like a couple of minutes. But, yeah. But the rest of you, Trundle, are you doing anything of interest for you in the shop?
Honestly, really nothing of interest. He's letting other people handle conversation just for now, but he's sort of keeping an ear out, just picking up dolls and stuff. He used to have quite a lot of that when he was younger. He came from a wealthy background before he was essentially exiled, so he's kind of used to all of that stuff. He's comparing and reminiscing a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does sort of give you like a mild flashbacks in a way, not like a PTSD, oh my god kind of way, but yeah, just memories that sort of trickle back. Meanwhile, the two of you behind the back of the shop, Guzzet Rare, what's happening?
So what is exactly you're saying? You think there's something here that might be akin to your cloak? I don't quite understand.
Perfect.
I don't know. Do you think we should ask him directly if there's more to him than he seems?
I mean, if you recall, something like that ain't exactly, the most quietest of things. Ian quickly. How loud can this thing be? Oh, how quiet can this thing be, to be more specific?
What, to cast a spell?
To detect magic, yes.
It has verbal components, yeah. So
yeah. Is a whisper a verbal component, or is a shout a verbal component?
Trundle
usually
clumsily knocks over a load of shit in there.
No,
in front of him.
Genuinely.
But he can see. He's got no excuse.
Okay, so
I mean,
I'll give you the exact context that it says in the book, so we can have a vague idea.
Something you could do outside, maybe? I don't know.
Most spells require the chanting of mystic words. The words themselves aren't the source of the spell's power, rather the particular combination of words with specific pitch and resonance sets the threads of magic in motion. Such a character is gagged or in an area of silence, such as one created by the silence spell, can't cast a spell with a verbal component. However, I'm not sure if there's a rogue thing for it. I know sorcerers have the ability to have a silent spell as their by using subtle spell, by using sorcery points, so they can avoid them. So the indication is there would be normally sort of like a talking volume. So it's not subtle. Effectively, it's not. It doesn't work. Yeah, it's just not subtle. I could have sworn that rogues got something to do with that. Like they could whisper components, verbal components, if they were.
That's only in Skyrim.
Arcane trickster. I don't. Yeah. Okay. Either way, verbal component. You would. This room's not big enough. You would be heard chanting something. But if someone doesn't know what the spell is, might know you've cast a spell, but that's about the limit.
Or at least a distraction, be it in a Trundle-like form. or
it's not like you have to like yell the spell, and it takes one action, so it's like 6 seconds of, well, not even 6 seconds, part of
Kick
6
down
seconds
another door
of chanting something. So you could use a distraction for sure to try and cover it up.
So yeah, knowing this, obviously, I'll be like, it ain't exactly the quietest of things.
Could you step outside and try it? Does it work like that? I know some things
Last 10 minutes, I believe. So.
So does that mean it moves with me?
Yeah.
Why don't you go and...
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Identify as a one-off. Sorry, Sophia. Identify as the one-off, one item. Get every bit of information about it, more or less. There are certain things to protect inside. Detect magic. It's 30-foot aura surrounding you.
As I move.
Why don't you go outside and check where Rain's gone? Just give him a meaningful look. And then come back in a moment. While I just finish up.
Your guidance is something I've thought before, and I'm welcomed it. I'll do it again here as well. And I step outside.
and as you do, you see
I'm
Rain.
literally just standing just outside.
Yeah, it's literally just sort of almost like stepped back around the corner around that time. So, sort of, because these are all happening sort of simultaneously. Sort of, you see him sort of step back in front of the shop, and you sort of step out next to him.
Are we down here? I only wish not to crowd the store. It's rather cramped.
Give me a moment here. I think I just I left something. Just, just a second, all right? Just frustrated at this point, and then start to like.
Hum.
away.
It's not the idea of like, okay, yeah, I think I left my hum. Cool, we're all good. I think. I love the idea of like trying to subtly do it. And then just like, fuck it, yeah. So yeah, you cast detect magic. Go ahead and click it for reference sake, but I believe it gives you a magical ping off of anything that has magic from it, and gives you the school of magic if there is one. With advantage, you detected magic with advantage. Fantastic.
Sorry, I don't know why that.
It makes zero difference. So as you cast it again, it sort of emanates. You feel the sort of aura open up around you. The only thing that you sense as you're standing outside is I believe, unless someone else correct me if I'm wrong, in case you guys have any other magic items. There's in fact this is really interesting. It's a small ping coming from within your bag. And the only other ping, yes, your bag. The only other ping is on Rhea's back. The cloak that hangs on her back.
Oh yeah.
Not just like
What about
her
those,
back
like,
is magic.
I'm not just pink.
Yes, yes.
What about those
Aye.
weird items we've had from the start? Like I have a wolf whistle. I don't know what other people have.
What? Sorry, you have a wolf whistle?
Yeah. Gothic trinkets, remember?
Oh, we all got trinkets.
I
I
have a
got
wolf
a
whistle.
silver whistle. You have a wolf whistle too. That's cool. I keep
Yeah.
thinking about blowing it every time there are wolves, but I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe that will make more wolves.
That's not a problem. Just remember, that's not a bad thing.
Well, yeah. So you
I didn't get
two,
any of this cool shit.
Yeah, so you get 2 pings.
Yes, you did. We all rolled like D100s, and then we
At the
got
very beginning.
things based on it.
I actually don't remember what my number was.
And mine was a flesh thing, but I'm dead, so it don't matter.
Roll another
Flush.
one.
You are a flesh thing.
That is a fact.
Sure, sorry. I thought the letter that I had was in my coat. Not the large letter to Sean. Sorry, the other letter that I had was always in my jacket pocket. Would it be there instead, or is there still something in my satchel?
There's
The
what?
one that you can only.
The one that I is in
Oh,
Porcelain
right,
Midnight.
right. The one that you wrote on.
Nope.
No,
Sorry. In a trance. Then I wrote on. Excuse me. Yes.
correct. Yes. No, that doesn't ping as magical per se.
But there's something else in my
Correct.
satchel that pings.
Correct.
Okay, I look into my satchel and see what the thing is pinging.
Cool. You feel like there's a sort of warm presence almost coming from the jacket, the or if you're wearing it, alternatively the wolf swatch jacket. And as you sort of reach there, you recall there being a hidden pouch, out of which you pull the small wolf whistle. And that is what is emanating a small source of magic.
That, if we recall. Is that what I wrote? Is that right? The breath of Yevgeny?
I never called it that, but that's really cool. That's a cool name. How was that? I don't know where you've come with that. That's amazing.
I like it.
I mean, obviously. I can remember
Where
this.
has that come from? I didn't ever say that. But you do have
It is canon.
a whistle. It is from memory a bone, like a thin bone whistle, and it doesn't have any specific carvings. But from reference of him being a wolf hunter, I believe it was referred to as a wolf whistle. But never as the breath of Yevgeny.
Sorry,
I've
buddy.
got to
I
think up of a new item, of whatever the fuck that could be. Just smells like cheap wine. Sure. The whistle is giving off a
Sure.
Hey, magic
Holding
as
it in my hand, just looking at it like befuzzled slightly. Befuzzled's a word.
Befuddled.
It is
Yeah.
now. I sort of quizzically like walk back into the shop again, holding this thing, and then just looking at sort of, I assume, Ray's sort of like hopeful eyes, being like, "Is it there? Is the bulky a sparkling motherfucker?" And I'm like, it's just looking around.
Nothing
Yeah.
in the shop pings as magical. Nothing
Except for
besides
okay,
what's already been
yeah.
listed. Yeah. Again, I may be forgetting something on your individual persons, but I don't think you guys have picked up any other magic items. From memory, I'm not 100% sure.
Unless
but...
the biting lock counts, but I don't think that's.
Oh, actually, yeah, the biting lock would be like very faint magical
Yeah.
aura. That is correct. That is
Okay.
Thank you for the reminder. It is faint.
That's
It's like what?
Tiny
Yeah.
wispy magic. Thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of
But-
like a common magic item.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Magic item.
Sure.
being emphasis. So yeah, you get a couple of pings from Rhea, which I'll say for expediting, it's like you are aware of what they are. You get the coat and the lock, which I think you saw maybe. At least you possibly when the guy was playing around with it the very first time. I can't remember it for sure, but either way, you get 2 pings off of Rhea, 1 ping from your hand, and
So
that's it.
yeah. So seeing that, I'd be like, and this thing lasts for what?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Sure.
9 minutes and 45 seconds right now.
Yeah, no, nothing from no shot. Yeah,
Sometimes really upsets me that I can't read what you guys are
Nothing.
writing.
Nothing of interest to you here.
Ian sucks over and over.
Well, I can read it afterwards. It's just like I can't read it right now, and then I see you guys like giggling. I'm like, oh, I want to read it.
I went in on it. Yeah, no, I say together. Nothing of interest for you in here.
I mean, only other than sort of like my eyes point to the cape, and then I just show you the wolf whistle and be like, I mean, he talked about this in a while, but I thought it was just like a dog whistle, something that they could hear. But there's something here, and I can't quite tell what it is.
But not the. Well, that's not from the shop, so.
I'm afraid not.
Do you think maybe? Just being straightforward and asking is the answer here? It's a gamble, but.
From what I've learned in this last 24 hours, I think being straightforward is probably the simplest and best option at this point.
Alright, I can do that.
I come back in by this point. I'm patient.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Trundle's just lurking near the front of the store, like arms folded, like poking at some of the dolls.
Yeah. I'm going to look around and just find like the quintessential doll that you'd have for a little give a little girl.
Sure. There's a few like smaller dolls with less detail, sort of all piled onto one shelf.
I'll just pick whichever one sort of catches my eye, the colours and everything.
Sure.
Just-
There's one with like blue button eyes and like a stitched smile. It's like they're all kind of slightly, almost off key, shall we say? But that one, there's something about it that kind of, can't help but sort of put a little bit of a smile on your face. Some,
I like to think that this is the one I would have had as a kid. Can I have it? Can I buy this one?
Goes, of course. Yes, 1 silver, please.
Yes, certainly.
And he's
And yes, I will give him 1 silver.
and he goes, it is a pleasure and honor to do business with such fine customers. And he again slides you the doll back across the table and takes the coin and pockets it in his non-jingling pockets. Oh, you're all set, or would you like some more?
Well, we might like something else if you'd be willing to indulge us.
Yes, for you, anything. Yeah. What is it?
I can't help but notice you have a doll of a certain person sitting on that shelf there. And I'll point to the Strahd doll behind him.
Mm-hmm. And he, as you do so, he looks across at it and goes, "Ah, yes, of course that. Don't take it as any sign of support for the guy. He is simply a rather well-known and striking figure, much like you tell tales of the bogeyman beneath your bed. It is, it's certain sense of the villain in a puppet show. You get the idea. It is took me a while to make, though. I'll be honest. Having not seen, him up close, just from descriptions and pictures and whatnot. People talk about the drawings.
Can I insight check him on that?
By all means.
Just. Ha! Nope. Hard to read.
No, I mean he's excitable discussing things, but bear with me.
Sorry.
I mean, sometimes you just can't write.
I'm just typing badly. I'm just
I
being an idiot.
missed what it was. I'm angry that I missed that.
Yeah, you get the sense that he's truthful, or at least again he's just excitable and big smiley face. Yeah.
So, what are your feelings towards him? The same as most of Barovia, I take it.
He shrugs and says, of course, he's not, I know very little about him other than that he's this monstrosity that keeps us in this unhappy place, this state, this, where we cannot travel, we cannot, spread joy, and apparently no one is looking to buy joy here.
What would you say if I told you that we are hoping to do something about this?
He sort of looks quizzically. It's like, what do you mean?
I mean, something that would allow you to travel, bring joy.
Well, I mean, anything that lets us bring joy is always going to be a plus. What is you're looking to do?
We're looking to rid Barovia of Strahd.
He just looks at you like incredulous and goes, "Well, that would be a welcome sight to all these people, I suppose. And then perhaps they will come and understand Blinks's dolls are the best dolls. But I mean, the best of luck to you, of course." And he sort of says it loud enough for everyone in the shop to hear, like, what, all of you, effectively.
Do you believe in fortunes?
You seem like looking slightly uneasy as you're just like directing these questions, just staring at him, practically unblinking. And he's just like, I mean, they can be fun, of course. Why it would? You seem like look slightly,
What would you say if I told you that we were guided here?
I don't quite know what you mean, but if you could explain what you mean in slightly more clear terms, this would maybe make me feel slightly less uneasy about this whole situation.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you uneasy. There's really not any way to ask these questions without making you uneasy. I think the short and true answer is we received a fortune telling from a woman outside of the town of Barovia. She gave us signs to look for, things that we believe will help us in what we intend to do. One of the signs was a man with a monkey.
You see him sort of like look, like his eyes just like widen up. He goes, this is an oddly specific thing to suggest to look for. Say
Yes, very odd.
a man with a monkey.
Mhm.
He sort of looks across at his shoulder, and the monkey's just sort of sitting there, like staring at him, and sort of, you know, just clambering around his head and whatnot. I mean, that would indicate to me, would it not?
It would.
Well, I don't know what this all is, but if it means anything to you, I've not had this monkey for particularly long. Okay, it was given to me.
By who?
Is the man in town, the entertainer, Rictavio. He sold me his monkey. He said I could use the company. We don't get many customers. And he was right. The monkey is entertaining. Look, Piccolo. Oh, and he sort of gestures to the like one of the top shelves, and the monkey scrambles back and comes back with like a rattle. He's like, look, it is a monkey with a tutu and a rattle. I don't know. It's a baby ballerina monkey. I don't know. It is entertaining. Maybe this will interest people. But it is my monkey now. Yes, but if it is some sort of hocus pocus, EG BG kind of stuff you're looking to mess with, it does not interest me. You know.
Fine. Well, perhaps this might, because the fortune that we received regarding you, and I think we are certain it is you, unless you know any other men with monkeys around, it also said that you are not what you appear to be, or you are more than you appear to be.
His eyes just widen some more. He goes, I am Gadolf Blinksy. I have been here for my whole life. I've made dolls my whole life. Or at least as long as I was needing to make money for myself to survive, and hell, it's not going too well lately, but...
Can we insight that?
Yeah, by all means.
Do better than me, please.
Did that roll? I didn't hear anything.
Yes, it did.
Okay, what did I don't know what I got. My whole thing's gone.
You got a 12.
Huh?
You... I mean, again, he seems genuinely perplexed by this. Like, you know, he seems... When you say like he's more than, or may not be what he seems, his eyes are just like, what? Like, I mean, he could be a good actor or something, but he looks, you know, surprised and whatnot, and almost shocked. He says, look, I am sure this is it's a man with a monkey. No, I can appreciate that might have been the only man with a monkey you have found, but look,
What were the conditions for purchasing this monkey?
well, it was hardly a purchase. I mean,
Did you ask, or did he just offer it to you?
well, he seems like a nice enough man, this Octavio, and he gave me this monkey. I say he paid. He gave me the monkey. He said it was not allowed in the inn that he's staying in, and well, now I have
He
it.
paid you, and he gave it to you. Well, which one is it?
He
I think
He
it's-
just gave it to me.
Then he didn't pay you. Then you didn't pay him for
He
it.
paid me for a doll. That is all. But not any specific doll. He paid me for a doll, and he was a nice man. He gave me the monkey because we got on well, and I don't know. Look, this is And you seem like, again, like frazzled by this whole situation of 5 people, 6 people in his shop. Now you come back in. Okay, I don't know what you expect from me, but I am. What do you expect from me? He sort of looks at you, Rhea, as he says this.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
Well,
When did you last get this monkey?
it was whenever that man came to town, 3-4 weeks ago, maybe. To go speak to him. Perhaps he can tell you more.
Perhaps we will.
Perhaps.
But you're done with this business. It's awfully strange to come to a man's place of work and accost him of such things, and claim that he is part of something. He's just like looking at you, Rhea.
It just seems strange to me. Someone matching your description, man with a monkey. We come in and
There was
first
a
thing
man with a monkey beforehand. Don't forget. I'm gonna say that as I walk past.
Yes, but he has the monkey right now.
Who's to
And
say
he
the
al-
fortune is highly accurate?
And he also has a doll of Strahd sitting on his shelf, and a doll of Strahd's latest target sitting next to it, or near it.
As you say this, he sort of looks around. He's like, "What? Who? Her?" He looks like, again, surprised. Strahd is searching for people. He looks
Searching for
confused.
people, eating people, what vampires tend to do.
Well, I can assure you this is not something I am aware of or party to. Look, I don't know what this is you want. This doll, this mannequin here of this Strahd, you can have it if you like. It is for sale. I do not. I created it with the intention to excite and entertain, and just no one has bought it. That is all.
Why is this Strahd doll for sale, but not that one there of the woman?
Look, someone else has asked to have it made for them. Okay, now please leave me alone.
Who asked to have it made?
Well, that is their business and not yours.
What harm could it do to tell us?
Well, what do I know? Look, I don't know what you intend to do with the information. If I was to tell the next the Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes in here that your friend here was, and gestures towards Zadie, requested a doll of her brother to be made, that would not be particularly pleasant, would it? If they came looking for you, or whatever it is you intend to do with this prophecy that you seem to have wrapped up in your mind, and your intention to find whoever wants that doll. It seems like a mere coincidence that they look alike. I must admit it is uncanny, but look, it is whatever this is. I wish to have nothing to do with it.
It seems that perhaps it is Rictavio that we were looking for in the first place. Maybe he's given us the slip, so to speak. Perhaps he knows more than we do.
Perhaps.
But from what I gather, this man seems to be fairly innocent, and I'm saying this only to the people, so that the shopkeeper can't hear.
Oh, of course you could do that, can't you? It's great.
He can whisper out loud.
Hey.
But not eat cheese, so you know this.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck you.
Potato, potato. and only within 30 feet as well. So there's like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You can eat cheese outside of 30 feet. That's incredible.
I can. It's incredible stuff.
Uh,
Teleportation just into my stomach.
So I'm aware that we're
Anyways.
hitting 11 or
Yeah.
just past 11. So what would you guys like to do as you're in there?
Look, I appreciate that you are a businessman and you are being professional, but do you not think that we would ask if it was not important?
Well, it may be important to them that you do not know who they are. I do not know your relationship to them. And, well, it is. Look, why must you know? It is a doll, no more, no less. It is.
How much is the Strahd doll?
Just like sort of shaking through the, through the confusion of the conversation for you to ask. He goes, it is 9 silver. The mannequin.
I take it. I
Okay.
give him 9 silver, and
Okay.
I just...
Across on the shelf, sort of.
Yep.
Back, and he's like, one moment, please. And he goes and grabs it himself because it's slightly larger. The monkey wouldn't be able to carry it properly, and he sort of brings it and sets it on the thing with the wooden star. You know, I don't know what you call it. I'm sure there's some very specific terminology for it, but you know what I mean. The mannequin, because it's like a semi puppet that's tied to its back. It's sort of bundled to you and given to you, and he takes the 9 silver. And he thanks you, but again, this whole scenario's, you guys love to intimidate people, huh? So he's just sort of, pockets the money and says, "No, look, I appreciate the business, I do, but I do not know of which you speak, and honestly, I would prefer if you were to leave. Come back tomorrow, perhaps, when you have maybe shaken this fever dream or whatever this idea is that you have in your head."
Can I walk up to him
Mhm.
and just go, "Hey, I'm real sorry, my friend upset you. She didn't mean to. You understand? We're not from here, and we're trying to work out a way to get home. So like,
No, I
kind of anything we've been told that might get us there, we're like, perhaps a bit too focused on. I'm real sorry you got caught up in it."
He's like, "It's okay, but just, I mean, I tell no lies when I say that I do not know what this thing is. What is you look for? I wish you best in your attempts to rid this land of that thing, that man, but it is and he just sort of looks curiously. It is beyond my control. I'm just a man. Man with a monkey who apparently shouldn't have a monkey. I'm sorry if I disappoint you." He sort of looks and says this to like towards Rhea, like, just a man who makes dolls. He's
It's fine. You definitely can't tell us who asked for this doll, or even who the doll is if it's not our friend.
he sort of mulls there for a bit and goes, I simply make the doll to the description of the individual that he requests, but it is his. Look, I cannot tell you. It is his choice to make, and if he wants to have a doll made the way he wants to have a doll made, who am I to stop him? It does resemble your friend. I do not doubt this, but that is.
I understand
simply...
you won't tell us about who asked for it or who the doll is, because that's like...
No, the doll is not supposed to be anyone particular to my knowledge. This is the request of someone else, and he's not... I've not been...
Can you tell us when you were asked to make it?
Because about one every couple of months. Just...
What?
Make
You've
the
made
doll a
more
lot.
than one of these?
Made several, but it is... Again, I cannot say more. I do not want to say more. Look, would you like it if I told anyone who came in here that you were requesting dolls of your brother?
You make them for the same person?
You see him kind of like, look, I said too much. It is just please. It is not something I wish to discuss here anymore. Please, if you respect me, you will not continue to press this line of questioning. Okay? That seem fair?
Thank you. So, as I said, we're just, any kind of information to go home.
No, of course, but I do not see why this person's interest in dolls has anything to do with you making it home. You seem sort of piecing it together. He's like, it's not him. It's not him if that's what you think. And he points to the doll that the mannequin that the Rain has of Strahd. It's not him if that is what you're thinking. No.
It might not look like him.
Sure. Why did you put the dolls together then? Just
What do you mean?
Well, they were sitting together on the shelf, right?
No,
they were behind the shop, but behind the counter.
Okay.
But one was sort of on the left, one was on the right. This is like maybe a 15-foot long shelf, and there are 3 shelves.
Okay.
They're all at the back behind the counter, but you get again some of the bigger pieces, some of the the more well-made display pieces are kept behind the counter. There's a few other things up there, but they are 2 things that caught your eyes that were behind the counter.
Okay. I mean, yeah, honestly, that was kind of what I was assuming, but don't worry about it. So anything you can tell us about where you got Piccolo from, so we can maybe search that instead of bothering you?
He just shrugs and says, "Look, it was given to me by this Rictavio, the man in town, with the pointed ears. He seems like a nice enough fellow. He said I was lonely, and I looked lonely, and I could hardly disagree. He was my first customer in about 4 months. So, he said he was not able to keep the monkey at the inn that he was staying at, and so he kindly gave it to me, and well, I must admit it has been quite a distraction and entertainment.
It seems like it real likes you.
Well, yes, we get on quite well, and I'm training him to pick things up and understand where to pick things up in the store. And he goes, "Hey, Piccolo," and he sort of says something, like sort of not quite gibberish, but sort of points off at a far shelf, and Piccolo sort of scrambles off his shoulders, down, hops onto the floor, and comes back with something else from a different shelf, and he sort of goes, he's learning, okay? He's just, once he gets the right thing, I give him a little treat, and eventually he will understand, okay? He gets all these ones here, and he points to the back shelves, and, and Piccolo starts to sort of move, he says, no. Picks him up and sort of pulls him back, sort of holds him there. Yes, he's fun. I made a tutu for him as well, custom made.
Real cute.
Right. He's a good friend.
While those two are talking, can I be having a conversation with Rain at the same time? But I'll let you guys finish, of course.
No, I'm just giving platitudes to try and distract from the weirdness.
Sorry about that. Can I ask one more question, and then I promise I'll leave you alone.
By all means.
The man who orders these dolls, does he give them a name?
He shakes his head. I don't know. It is not my business. He orders the dolls. I make them for him, and well,
it was just a question on the off chance, but
I'm afraid I can't help you on that.
I understand, and I am sorry if I've upset you. It was not my intention. I want to do good. I want to help. I want to help Barovia, and I thought this would.
He sort of
It seems
says, "It is okay. Just, I mean, this place it can be pretty miserable. So, like, if you're not going to throw accusations and.
Oh, please don't misunderstand me. I was
No,
not accusing
no,
you yourself of
no,
being involved in
Just
it.
no. But please, before you continue, just I just make dolls. I wish you the best, but with whatever it is you intend to do, as foolhardy as it sounds, but well, it is you know, I don't wish to cause any trouble. Just so if you want entertainment, you can come here. But otherwise, I'm fresh out of pretty much anything else.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you for the first toy I ever had.
And sort of the smile returns to his face, and you see the kind of warmness roll back over and yes. It's okay. We all need to be reminded of that inner child every once in a while. He sort of hefts his waistband up a little bit. And I must get to making your brother. I will. And as he's sort of heading off, he does sort of turn and go. I do have one question, and he sort of looks at, I mean, the collective, but again, sort of directed towards you. He says, where are you planning to take on this Strahd? Are you planning on going up to that castle of his?
We weren't sure.
I shake
Not
both
yet,
my
anyway.
head and the Strahd mannequin's head at the same time.
Very nice. He looks at you and says, well, if you somehow do find yourselves in that neck of the woods, this is a very strange request, but I suppose this has been a very strange morning. There was a doll maker, sort of my inspiration. His name was Fritz von Frieg. He said to have made a clockwork doll. The likeness of this, well, it's supposed to be a clockwork man of sorts, much bigger than these. But if you do happen across a clockwork doll being, I would love to see it. If you, it's a fool's errand, I know, but if you find yourselves in the neck of the woods, then it's supposed to be somewhere in that castle, entertaining guests or something of that ilk. But it's more than enough. You've made a lonely man very happy today, as much as this has been strange. Thank you.
With that, Trundle will sort of raise his hand as a wave, and then probably just head for the door.
Cool. He nods and says, "Piccolo, say goodbye," and the monkey sort of screeches. And he goes, oh. And sort of waits for you to leave as you hear the ding ding of the door swinging open.
Yeah, I'll go.
So
Well.
as you step outside, and as it's past 11,
Yeah.
aware of the time, that where are you headed next, or where are you stepping out now? Or is that what you're here to discuss? Because if so, then I think we'll call it there for the night. Another roleplay heavy session, but it's always pleasant.
Yes,
Always a pleasure.
rather.
It's good.
At least
Lot
it
of-
was directed this time.
I know, right? You guys bounced around, and I mean, you did like 3 things. It's like 3 times as many as last session. But I mean, I'm fucking with you, of course. It's pleasant as always, and lots of interaction. So, obviously, hero point votes for you guys off on Discord, and thank you for people watching, and thank you guys also for
Thank
being
you very much
great
for
players as
watching.
always.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, Ian, again.
As always, that was definitely a chilled session for sure. I'm definitely a little bit spacey at the moment as well, because drugs and medication is definitely kicking in, and that's really surreal. But yeah, no, thank you guys, really. And just a couple of follows as well that came through during the session, as well as the host from Large Milkshake. Of all the names, getting a host from a Large Milkshake is quite nice. Probably would have done pretty well in There Will Be Blood, because I've had a big milkshake to drink. But yeah, CHS Master and Random Hero _. Thank you very much for the follows. It does mean a lot, really. And I don't know if they're still sticking around, but thank you if you chose to. But yeah, I think as that was, I mean, I didn't even switch to the map ever during that session. It was just faces. So I did to try and fix something, and then it didn't fix it because we went from 6 to 5 to 6 again. But thank you guys. Brew as always. I'll see you on Thursday. But for those of you who watch other parts of the stream, I'll see you on Thursday. Probably with some Slay the Spire. I don't know for sure. These beautiful faces. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Tuesday.
And
Peace and love.
we are going to go chill for a little bit before probably heading to bed for me pretty soon.
Yeah.
But peace out, guys.
Yes.
Thank you very much as always.
Peace out.
Bye. Bye. Bye.